What's up, Mr. Bunty?
Hi, Steven. Steven, can we just make a commitment here to not bark at each other?
Bunty, I never bark at anybody. I'm the most cordial debater you've ever met in your life. And I'm not even a Nazi, dude. Yeah.
All right, dude. Listen, where do you want to start? Like, you know what? I'm going to start right here. First of all, I wanted to apologize to you. I don't know if you saw it earlier, for calling you names, because it's shitty. It's a shitty thing to do.
No, it's all good. It's all good. No. It's all part of the Twitter game. I accept your apology, but that's cool. All right.
Okay. Cool. So, and the next thing, that's it. No, that's it. Let's go. Okay. Ask away, man. Let's go.
So, I'll outline my general problem, and then we'll be specific to Mouthy Buddha. So, my general problem I have, that I've spoken to every single person in your kind of like corner of the world, is that you have two groups of people, okay? You have overtly racist people that are whatever.
Ruin, like that, okay.
Yeah, like anti-Semitic, anti-brown person, like blatantly racist.
Yeah.
Okay, then you have this group of people that are you guys, where you don't come out and defend these people, but like you viciously attack everybody on the other side, and then you always offer these quasi-haphazard defenses of these other people who are being like pretty blatantly racist.
Okay.
And then we pretend that this doesn't happen. That's the part that bothers me the most. Is where we pretend that this isn't what's happening. So looking at the Mouthy Buddha thing in particular, okay? So I think you saw this because you guys see everything. I don't know if you guys are in like a secret Discord group, but
no, Steven, before you go on, I don't see absolutely everything. See, the thing is, for me, YouTube is this thing that I love, right? Because it allows me to fucking connect with people and then go ahead and like share my story where I come from, like talk about Montreal, talk about the stuff that I care about and kind of help people that way. So that's what I'm doing, right? But in the meantime, I also have like real life stuff. I'm a marketer. Like that's what I do. Like my job is social media. So like I'm doing stuff with clients and I'm doing all sorts of other stuff. So that job that I've had in social media has allowed me to kind of like, I only got it to begin with because they understood that I had like an idea of how to touch certain demographics based on information that they provided me. Because they know because I'm just able to I don't know, just something, I'm good at marketing. I love it. It's fucking fun for me. It's like numbers and all that shit. So like, that's what I do mainly. So when I see, when people are like telling me about stuff that's happening, like I miss a bunch of stuff. And so I have to rely on these conversations that I've had with certain people and just like based off of my experiences with them and how I question people and how I like pretty much establish if there's someone that I want to keep around. That's pretty much like how I can operate based on not being able to just watch as much of their content while still following them. You know what I mean?
Sure. So,
no, speak. Just real. If I need to explain it more, I really.
Okay, well, it's not the matter of explaining. So we have a massive difference in opinion here. So this is kind of what I riled against you for saying this, and I feel very strongly about this. You know that people can have, you could find some. Okay, so what is your like? Or I don't know what your ethnic background is. Okay, but let's say I hate brown people. What?
Okay, well, my parents are Indian.
Okay, that's what I thought, but I didn't want to guess.
Culturally Sikh.
Okay, sure. So, like, you can have a person that legitimately doesn't like Indian people. Like, he wants all of them to be deported. He doesn't want them in the country. Who could meet you in real life and be really friendly. You know that's possible, right?
I can imagine it being possible, absolutely.
Okay.
Definitely. So I'm not saying that, imagine, like, it's not going to happen. No, but I can imagine for sure because people have certain motivations. Like, I've had to deal with shady people before, for sure. For sure, because they say one thing and then they say another thing when your back's turned, for sure.
Okay, so do you see how it rubs some people the wrong way when somebody releases what is essentially Nazi propaganda, anti-Semitic video, and then your defense is literally like, well, I met these guys in real life and most of them are nice, and also here's a funny message I sent him on Twitter and he said he wasn't anti-Semitic, so he must not be. Do you see how that's...
But that that was like a joke, right? That's like something to play on the actual whole situation and kind of make people laugh and just ease people up a bit. I know that like
but the difference is that when you guys have anybody on the left that makes even the slightest comment, you're like literally like this guy's trying to destroy Western
Destiny, when you say you guys, are you really lumping me in with this? Because that's something that I do not do, and I have people that can actually attest for that. It's something that I really try to avoid doing. In fact, because being a Canadian, like, we are so far ahead in terms of the social game, in terms of gay rights, in terms of the fact that I grew up in a multi-ethnic city. Like, I had it rough in the 90s and going up and through the early 2000s. But after that, like, I was able to kind of, it was easier for me. Like, I definitely have a sense of privilege in the sense that, like, I am, like, a Montrealer that's got that's living in Canada. Like an ethnic person living in Canada is so different from an ethnic person maybe living in certain parts of the States or parts of Europe, you know? So for me, like, that's where I'm coming from. Do you understand? Like, I'm not going to go and fucking shit on an SJW just because I disagree with their opinion. And I don't think that they're going to bring an end to Western civilization. I really don't believe that. I refuse to believe that. So, like, you have to understand that, like, I'm coming from it in an angle that's like, I don't think that the SJWs are all bad, and I don't think that these people on the right are all that bad. And, like, I know that we started off on a very, very wrong foot. Like, I fucking called you out because I saw the things that happened with JonTron and then the animation thing. And even though we differ on opinion and I see how passionate you are, I mistook your passion for you being a fucking jerk. So for me, I come right out of the gate with, like, hard-hitting, like, just fucking being a dick. I'm being a dick.
Sure,
I'm being
okay.
a dick because I think you're a dick. And the thing is that I didn't have to do that, and that's why you may put me into that group, but I don't do that generally. That's something that I don't enjoy doing because it closes doors.
Yeah,
I thought your door was already closed.
And so like, because the problem that I have, and this is really, really difficult for me, is that so many people in this corner of the internet just fucking lie. They'll just lie to me constantly about what they actually believe. So, like, I look at your YouTube channel, and I look through your top videos, and surprisingly, I think you're actually telling me the truth, okay? For once.
No, so, I am telling you the truth.
Yeah, like, which is cool. So, like, I talked to the, do you know the Andy Warg, oh, fuck, what's his name? Do you know who I'm talking about? Andy
Warski, yeah.
Yeah, so, like, this is a guy, every time I pull you guys on, the Jeff Holiday's guy, Sargon, every time I pull these skeptics on and talk to them, it's always like, oh, no, I don't just do this, or I represent both sides, or I'm in the middle. And then when you bring up their channel, it's 52 ways that feminism is destroying Western society, 100 ways that and it's like, dude,
I know.
So the reason why I kind of lumped you in with these people is because I think several times now, I think this has happened on 3 different occasions, you've jumped in with them. So I kind of like put you on this side of people. Okay, sure.
No, I get it. Of course, it's fine.
My big issue here then, so maybe you'll have a more reasonable opinion than like the Jeff Holiday's guy or whatever, but like the Mouthy Buddha shit is pretty bad. When he first made the video, my initial impression was that he's another fence-sitting skeptic that's paying way too much homage to people on the right, and he's doing so in like a way that he knows what he's doing. But at this point, I'm pretty sure that he's actually anti-Semitic. Do you think so, or do you think not?
I don't see. That's the thing. I don't think so. Okay, but now I was like, just before coming in here, just before I saw your quote tweet, which hurt my fucking feelings. Okay. But yeah, pretty much what happened essentially is like that I saw this video, and it was a video that pretty much seemed very anti-Semitic, and I had my friends play it. I played it in front of my friends. I'm like, what do you think of this? Because I was so unsure and so fucked up. I'm like, there's no way. I mean, have you seen it? Have you seen this video in question? I'm sure people have been sending it to you, and I'm sure that you see all this stuff, so...
So there are 2 big videos that have been released that
okay, I know. About, right? Are you talking about the Jewish question part 1 and 2? That's what you're talking about, right?
Okay. Well, those are the main videos, right? So you've watched both of those now? Right.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so the way that he phrases things in the second video, if he's just presenting the other argument, it's really hard to tell that, right? Like, if I was presenting, let's say that I'm presenting, like, why Indians are bad people, right? I would say something like, okay, these people claim that Indians
you don't have to use Indians, dude. You can use any race.
Okay, any race, white people,
so
whatever.
Yeah, sorry.
Any group of people, any group of people, right? These people are bad, or it's said that these people are bad. These people claim this, blah, 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 right? These are the kind of statements you would make to make it clear that it's somebody else's point of view. You wouldn't say that X person said that white people are really disgusting. Therefore, it's obvious that if you look at all the data, white people are horrible people, and this guy actually has a good point, and go on and on like that, and then at the end of the video be like, well, I put a disclaimer at the front. Like, it really makes it look like those are his points of view.
Yeah. Okay.
But
But you said the other 2 videos now?
So let's say that we can never, let's say that we are at an impasse here, even though I think the video looks really bad on its own, right? So I'm not trying to like ambush you with these videos. These have been getting circulated a lot of my fans. So this is a video where, do you want to listen to like the first like minute and a half of this?
Yeah, show me.
Sure.
I think I know which video you're gonna share with me.
Okay, if you've already seen it, then we don't have to watch it. But like,
no. I just want to make sure that we're on the same page.
Sure. Okay. So I sent you a video, and
it doesn't have a name. I didn't see the name or anything. I didn't see the name. It was on like a Streamly or something like that.
It's a streamable video. It's called We Are Powerless. Exactly. Do you want to click it and listen to like the first minute and a half of it?
Oh, you sent it to me?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I sent it to you on Skype.
Sorry, I thought we were going to do some fucking weird shit to watch it together.
Oh, I don't have any of those things. I know, but we can just start at the same time, okay?
Oh, yeah. Okay, so this one, and then he pretty much goes on to start talking about, like, he says, like, there's a force taking over, at which point, I'm like, okay, well, maybe he's just talking about the fact that these people want to control free speech, and it looks like that, because he leads into the next part. And then he goes and starts talking about Israel. He really singles out Israel.
So
in terms of like what they're doing, is like they're rejecting this and they're putting the burden on us. So it seems like it's not that's where I cut off, by the way. So I didn't watch the whole thing.
Sure,
so
but like the Israel example, the first part of the video.
How far did you go though?
I watched the whole thing.
Okay.
The first part of the video, that is the Jewish question, right? The Jews are trying to subvert Western culture to bring in a ton of, and then he gives an example of two Jewish people. Also, he earlier in a video that I'm sure you've heard by now, he says that he dog whistles to his audience. At like 1:15 in this video, he says that he's not going to let his YouTube channel disappear into the echoes. Okay? And the echoes is the parenthesis thing. You know what I'm talking about? This thing? Right? Yeah. So, I mean, like, it's pretty hard. And then I think this is the same video where in the beginning he talks about how the alt-right has one thing right, and that he thinks the enemy of his enemy is his friend.
No, I know, dude. Literally, I watched it just before I saw your quote tweet, and I was like,
okay.
But this was taken down, right? Like, this isn't on his channel anymore, right?
It was on a private link, like an unlisted video. I don't know if it's still there or not.
Well, if it was unlisted, that means that he published it, and then that's the thing.
Well, so you can publish a video. You don't have to publish it, but you can list it on the channel, but make it unlisted. So you have to have a direct link to it. Yeah.
Exactly. But most people, if they want to keep something private like this, then they would just go ahead and they would private it right away. Like, they wouldn't have it in unlisted. They would have it in private. If they wanted
I don't know why it wasn't private, but I mean, like.
But that's the thing. So here's I don't know. I sent this link to him, and I was like, "What the fuck is this? Explain this." And what I'm thinking here is that he put it up a while back. How old is this video? Do you know how old this video is?
I'm not sure because I only was seeing the re-uploads, I think. So
yes, that's it. There's no way to tell. So the idea is that, like, what I would assume here, just based on the fact that I assume the good in people, is that he had this video up. He was like, "Oh, this is not I'm wrong here. I'm totally wrong. This makes no sense," because he probably went and started talking to more Jewish people, and they were like, "No." So at that point, he probably took it off, and he probably unlisted it instead of privating it. I don't know. That's the thing. That's just me trying to make sense of it before he actually explains it to me, if he's going to explain it to me. Like, I was supposed to schedule an interview with him on my channel as soon as he uploaded his third video. So I don't know. Now I'm now that definitely brings it into question. And but even though I looked at his first two those videos on the Jewish question, and for me they didn't seem, based on me going in, I'm like, okay, I went in being someone that grew up in the Jewish community, being someone that is able to kind of get an idea if this is really fucked up and something I should worry about. And for me, apart from the second video at the very beginning and the very half of it, I was like, this is okay. This is he's just pretty much explaining what the alt-right stands for, what the alt-right
so
Jewish question. The first video for me didn't seem super propaganda because he presented. I remember he spent a significant portion on defending, Judaism and
no. So I watched the first video, okay, and I totally disagree with this. So let me give you an example of, okay, we'll use black people, okay. Let's say that I'm making a video on black people. This would be the equivalent of what he's doing, okay. Let's look at what people think about black people in the United States. They're violent. They are disproportionately represented in crime. Spooky music in the background, images in the foreground. Look at this riot in Charlottesville. Look at this riot here. Let's look at all the black people in history that have been violent. This violent criminal, Trayvon Martin. Over, and naming 15 names, okay? Because he did for the Jewish part, right?
I know.
15,
That
right?
was
we
crazy.
know that all of these different genetic scientists that nobody takes seriously all think that black people have the warrior gene, are genetically predisposed, blah, blah. And then you spend 10 seconds. And then you spend
seconds.
Then you spend it was. We can watch the video if you want. He spends 10 seconds going, "Oh, but that's probably not true. They're just cool people." And then he moves on to the next section.
I would love to watch the video again with you, Dustin.
Yeah, we can do it real quick.
Feel like that.
Sure.
It really doesn't feel like that because I watched it and I was like, this is there was a good solid 2 minutes there. But here's the thing: before we do watch it, okay? Going in, I'm thinking this guy isn't. I'm like, he's not an anti-Semite. There's no way. It makes no sense based on the conversation that we've had with each other.
Okay, but a personal conversation. He's never going to tell you that he's anti-Semitic.
That's something that I get it. Yeah, listen, if we're exploring the idea where everyone he's completely dishonest, sure, but I'm assuming that he isn't dishonest because I'm not. I have no reason to be dishonest with people.
But why would he honestly say, this is the whole reason, this is what's so frustrating about dealing with the skeptic community, is that these people don't operate where they go oh yes, we want to kill all black people. The way that they phrase it is so much more insidious. They phrase it in ways
that's they're it's almost marketable. They're oh,
exactly. And this is why I rallied so much against you for the comments that you made about Spencer. The whole point of Rebranding rebranding the Nazi movement into slick-speaking, awesome-looking dudes that wear suits, that are professional, is to make it so their ideas are presentable. So when people like you are literally tweeting, well, Spencer's a really nice dude, like, that's their propaganda working.
No, that's not what I was saying. So I wasn't saying Spencer's a really nice dude. I'm saying that I could approach Spencer in an easier manner because of the fact that doesn't seem like he's on like an 11 every time. He looks like he's down at a fucking 7. Like, I don't agree with that. It's so like, I feel like that was like really taken out of context. I mean, like, I'm not accusing you of making a bad faith argument. That's definitely not what I'm doing. Okay. I'm just saying that, like, maybe you're predisposed to think that I'm just kind of like downplaying his fucking role. Like, I get what they're trying to do. I know exactly what they're trying to do. I'm a fucking marketer. I understand it. It's so easy to tell. Anyone with fucking like half a brain can see that they're trying to be more marketable to this group of like white children that are like disenfranchised by what the fucking media is doing, but continuously talking about race issues. And it's like they're losing it. And of course they're capitalizing on that. So I see all of that. But like the idea is that like I can approach Richard Spencer and be like, I feel like I can talk to him and be like, what are you doing? Why are you being like this? As opposed to someone like Tariq Nasheed, who literally will just spend like a good 20 minutes fucking being like cunty queen, or which I don't mind. I think it's hilarious. But like, I'm not going to be like, I'm not going to talk to him. You know, I'm talking to you right now. You're being chill. If you were completely on another level, if you were starting to fucking call me names and shit like that and be a fucking aggressive asshole, I'd be out. I wouldn't care to talk to you because I'd be like, this guy doesn't want to come to a solution. But in talking to you, I'm beginning to realize that you're a guy that wants to come down with a fucking solution. So let's that's pretty much where I'm coming at.
Okay. Do you want to watch? I'll link you this video. We watched like the first, like, I think it's like 5 or 6 minutes. We can. Are you okay with like times 2ing it? We can kind of like speed through it.
Yeah, let's go.
Okay, I link it to you.
Link it to me, and like, are we gonna watch it like together? Or
I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to use those sites. I've never used any before. But we can.
MyCircle.tv, dude.
Okay, link it to me. Link me that shit.
Okay,
or.
That shit, okay. I got you. MyCircle.tv. So MyCircle.tv, then you just copy the link into it, and you can make a room.
All right, I'm doing that. Hold on.
Do that? Okay.
Okay, now I'm sending you this link.
I tweet you fucking stream that.
Oh, you can't times 2 it here? Or increase the speed?
I'm not sure.
Alright, that's okay. It's alright.
Let me just fucking... You sound like a nicer guy. I didn't expect you to be so nice. You sound... Swear to God, I thought you were going to be a fucking asshole, man. You always seem like an asshole in all your videos. I don't fucking get it.
Okay, but I mean, you called me a shrimpy. I mean, what?
I'm sorry, Steven.
No, it's fine. I mean, I imagine, like, most conversations I have are okay, but, like, the problem I'm getting is that, like, and everything you've done so far, like, I know that maybe you don't want to see it, but, like, anytime a video is posted about, like, an SJW or a liberal, like, you guys will take, and I don't mean to say you guys, maybe you're a little bit more separate from the skeptosphere, though you show up in all of their Twitter fights somehow, but it seems like the skeptosphere will take one thing a feminist says, and it's like, this is evidence of them trying to destroy the whole world. But then when somebody releases, like, 15 pieces of Nazi propaganda, you're like, well, let's wait for the next video to get a clearer picture of what do you think. Like, do you see, like, the kind of the double standard?
No, I get it, but what I'm trying to say is that, like, no, it's not that. It's
okay.
Like, I'm definitely not you see me because I've fucking, been involved in something because I like Blair White, like, I don't think Blair White's nuts, like, these are, I genuinely don't think these people, like, you hate Blair White, you hate Sargon, all those people, like, I just feel like, once again, just going back to it, just my having met them and having grown up with people that were racist, like, I'm able to talk to these people and be like, well, they're not really racist. Now, here's the thing with Mouthy Buddha. The only issue with Mouthy Buddha is that I haven't actually met him in person. I've just spoken to him online about things and talked to him about things. That's the extent of it, right? Haven't met him in person. So if it's someone you meet in person, I think it's completely different. Like, you could say that someone will lie to you, and you can. Yes, it's the truth.
So, like, this is like a huge thing. This is a huge disconnect that I see. That I just want to talk for like 2 seconds, okay? My mom, okay, is a huge Trump supporter, okay? Now, if you talk to my mom about, like, Mexicans, okay? They all need to be deported. We need to build the wall. Most of them are rapists, murderers, come over. She'll say like some pretty abhorrent shit, right? But my mom is Cuban, and she came from Cuba, and her family fled from Cuba. Well, Cubans need to come here. Cubans should be allowed here because Castro is so evil, blah, 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 blah. But fuck all the Mexicans, right? Now, if you talk to her in person, she's the nicest, sweetest lady you'll ever meet. You'll never guess that my mom has these views. She's super fucking nice. And I imagine...
You'd ask her, right? Wouldn't you ask her? Like, I mean, we're going to this... I'm at this con, right? And I'm not going to talk to Sargon about, like, what he likes in his fucking Coke. I'm talking to him about race issues. I'm talking about stuff, and he's telling me the stuff that he believes. Yeah, so then I'm like, okay, so this guy's not, like, that's the thing. So based on who we're talking to in the skeptosphere, I'm obviously going to ask them questions, like, what do you think of the alt-right? What do you think of, like, race? All that stuff. So, like, it's not like your mom. Like, your mom would talk about cupcakes or some shit like that. I don't fucking know, but, like...
the problem is there are, like, different levels of this shit. And what happens is the skeptosphere... Most of the skeptosphere, from what I've talked to, I can say this for sure about Sargon at least, okay? I don't think that most people in the skeptosphere are racist. This is why I took issue with, I think it was some black guy that tweeted, like, oh, you said they're all racist. I don't think that most of them are racist, and I don't think I've even said that. I think that most of them, what happens is, you guys unintentionally serve as this platform for amplifying racist beliefs. So let me give an example, okay? Let's say that I'm racist. What are some ideas that I might have for the United States? Well, immigration has to stop, except for maybe from Christian white European countries. So we need to deport brown people, get them the fuck out of here, okay? We need to do something about black people. Cut them off from fucking welfare. Fuck these people. I don't care about them anymore. And we need to keep as many brown people from coming here as possible, anti-Christians especially, right? So let's say that these are my internal racist points of view. Now let's go and see what the skeptosphere advocates, okay? Well, the skeptosphere is very anti-globalism, and oftentimes that ties in with no immigration. Oh, hey, that lines up pretty well.
I'm not anti-globalist.
Sure. A lot of them are very pro, like the Trump Muslim ban, keep all the Muslims out of this country. Thank goodness most Muslims are brown, okay? So that works out really well.
I'm also for a just a little tighter immigration.
Okay,
like Canada has tighter immigration, so.
We want to get rid of the brown people in this country. Thank God Trump is getting rid of DACA. Export these motherfuckers. Get them out of here. That lines up really well. Like, do you see how, like, you can take, like, every single belief that these people have works as, like, the perfect amplification platform for genuinely racist people. It all lines up, like, perfectly.
So wait, but the thing is, I don't know very many people in the skeptic community, maybe apart from like I haven't spoken to people that think that, like, I should have looked into DACA. I never looked into it. I was like, for me, I just was so sure. Like, I was like, listen, they were born here. Let them fucking stay here. I don't get it. But like, I never really talked about it because I don't know enough about what the, like, logistics behind fucking DACA is. So never brought it up ever on my timeline. So fuck. I mean, I would assume that some of the people that I know in the skeptic community would probably just be like, why are they just repealing that? Like, why are they, like, they were born and raised here?
Yeah, you would think that, but it seems like the skeptic community spends all of their time criticizing pointless shit on the left. Like, that's what the whole skeptic community has made a living out of, is finding random leftist tweets, random irrelevant laws that don't do what they claim they do, like the law in New York or the whatever bill in Canada, the C-130.
Yeah, C-16 and then M-108.
Yeah, or the random shit in California. Like, they'll just find, like, these random little things, and they spend their whole channel talking about these things, right? When I talked to the Andy dude, I asked him if he did the same thing. He's like, well, no, I try to be balanced. And I said, like, okay, when I look at his channel, all of his videos are shitting on leftists. What about the take a knee thing? He was like, well, for the take a knee video, I criticized both sides there. I watched that video after a conversation. 8 minutes of it was spent shitting on the players for doing the take a knee thing. And like 10 seconds was saying, like, well, I don't think Trump should necessarily be telling people to get fired. But like everything else was about shitting on the players, like, taking the knee. Like, it's not balanced at all. They spend all of their time criticizing left-leaning thought.
Yeah, you know why it may seem like they're criticizing left-leaning thought, and I can understand, I can totally relate in the sense, is the left, like, lost the comedy. They're not funny anymore. Like, there's so much shit that's, like, being said between the left, like, it's just not, like, funny. Like, listen, I grew up in a time, and how old are you, Desmond?
28.
28. So, okay, so you're in the same age bracket as me.
Yep.
I grew up being able to say faggot. It was just a thing, you know, and I know you grew up in that time too, right?
Oh, of course,
and
yeah.
We were totally allowed to say whatever, you know. It's like, and it was like we would talk to each other and we would be able to tell if we're obviously being serious or not, right? And the other thing is that we completely just took the word faggot and turned it into something. It didn't mean gay. Like, we're openly okay with people being gay and getting married and fucking whatever. Like, that's not a problem.
That's the problem, is that wasn't true. Like, we thought it was. when we grew up, we all said faggot all the time, and we thought that, oh, well, we can say it. Who cares? We don't actually hate gay people. But there are a lot of people that actually hate gay people. And sometimes...
That's still used. I don't think
like gay marriage was just made legal, what, like 2 or 3 years ago in the United States? How long was the Supreme Court?
But that's where it comes. This is where our experiences come into play, and that's why I think it's really different, because you're living in the States and I'm living in Canada. For us, gay marriage has been legal for like over fucking 10 years, dude. Like over 10 years. Okay,
but even over 10 years, you were still a teenager then when it was still illegal, right?
Dude, no. It was just not illegal, dude. It was like, I wasn't a teenager. I was 2005, so yeah, obviously I was a fucking teenager. Bad mental math. Yeah, no, I was a teenager, but I never at any point in my life thought that it was like immoral or bad. Like that's something that I actively remember. I never thought it was immoral. Ever. I was just like,
and
just
that's cool for you. Gay. But like in the United States, the majority of Republicans still oppose gay marriage. Donald Trump's administration came out and said that like they thought that the cake baker should have been able to deny services to gay customers. Like it's still a big thing in the United States.
I know, but here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. I think this is where we do disagree, right? Obviously, we disagree in a bunch of places, but it's not a big deal. But we disagree here. Like, I think that the bakers don't necessarily need to serve everyone, and that's just the fact. The matter is, get this, is that other bakers are going to take care of that. They'll give an opportunity to another fucking baker to be like, all right, if these people aren't going to fucking sell to a gay couple because they're being bigoted and retarded, then let's fucking sell to this gay couple at a discounted price, and then get like it's just.
If that's true, why did segregation ever exist ever?
Because I feel like people weren't as morally developed as they are now. They weren't as in tune with the rest of the world or what's going on with other people's problems. The internet has really helped in that, in terms of allowing people, individual people, to go ahead and say, this is what I want, this is what I need. And then people are starting to build policies on that, because people are like, holy shit, this is what I want, this is what I'm about. Like, can you stop fucking doing this? And so based on like back in the day colonialism, they didn't know what the fuck Indians were like, man. They went to India thinking that people were going to have fucking backwards feet. Like, that was their mentality back then. Like, these are normal human beings. These are people who are capable of building boats and fucking mathematics and shit like that. And they thought that Indians had fucking backwards feet? Like, how stupid do you need to be?
Okay, but what would you do if you lived in I'm sure you've got small towns in Canada, rural towns. What if you lived in a small town where there are only 2 or 3 of a certain type of person that made, if it's instruments or a bakery or whatever, and like all of them hated Indians. They were all friends and they just didn't want to serve Indians. You have to travel to a different town to find a service? Like, you're just fucked? Or do you think somebody can
So that's a seriously hypothetical situation.
Okay, but the problem is it's not hypothetical.
But no, that's the thing that was
this
the only bakery in the town?
This is all about gerrymandering and redlining in the United States. There's communities of people discriminating on somebody.
Steven, there was legit one baker in that story. They didn't get a wedding cake after that.
Maybe
they got a fucking wedding cake. They got a sick wedding cake. I can tell you that much.
The reason why protected classes exist, in the United States, I can't speak for Canada, but in the United States, the reason why protected classes exist is because if you let people discriminate on somebody, usually there's community pressure to do it. If I go to that city with the anti-gay cake baker, I guarantee you that's not the only person in that city that hates gay people. This isn't like San Francisco, Seattle, Portland, Oregon people that are like. So there's probably a lot of anti-homosexual people in that city. So if you have a decent anti-homosexual community in your community, like, how many services are you going to be restricted from getting? And as a homosexual, you probably don't have a large enough community of people to rally for an entirely new business to be created. And what's worse at that, community pressure could cause that new business that serves gay people to lose customers.
This is not.
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with like your proposition that like the free market is really cool. I'm a huge proponent of capitalism on my stream, but there are things where community pressure can cause bad things to happen. This is why protected classes exist.
You know what? I do agree. That's actually a very good point. This is a really, really good point that you brought up. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that if obviously there's like, but I mean, I'm trying to really kind of like, if someone's gonna open a bakery and they're gonna be like homophobic to the point where they're not down to sell to someone, that means that it's probably already a pretty religious town. I mean, they're probably already serving a bunch of people. People may think the same to varying degrees. It's possible. It's very possible. Mm-hmm. It may not be the 100% accurate depiction, but it's possible for sure. I don't think that towns like those, they may exist in Canada, but I find that they're far and few between, just because of how ahead of the curve that we are in Canada. Like our conservative party, there were some people that were like trying to fucking make gay marriage not a thing, and they got fucking shut out in the Conservative Party. So that's the level of conservatism that Canada has. So You know, that's why the jokes about us being a quote unquote cuck country are like there's some, you know, truth behind it.
Sure, and I can't speak to Canada, but I can say in the
cuck.
United States that these communities definitely exist.
No, and I believe it, and that's why I'm not as crazy on people that are like BLM. I'm not like, oh, you're fucking BLM, you're an idiot. Like, I'm not going to be like that because look at South Chicago, look at South Central LA, look at certain parts of Atlanta. Even though Atlanta is the center for fucking black wealth,
okay,
still, it's like there's all of these things going, like all these places that are just fucked up. And you're wondering, why the hell are they having this? And obviously people are complaining because there's obviously an issue. They're not complaining because they just want to fucking complain. No one wants to go out of their way to fucking complain.
Sure.
They'd rather be just chilling at home. Like, most people want to go to a fucking vegetative state and just fucking chill out.
Sure, but if I were to go and look at like Sargon of Akkad's videos on Black Lives Matter, what do you think I'm going to find him presenting any of the complaints that BLM has legitimately? Or if I look at Blair White's videos on Black Lives Matter, or like, do you think?
I would have to say that you would probably find their videos to be more along the sides of trying to entertain their audience, while kind of, you know, driving the point that there is still like there is an option other than just self-victimization. Now, like, I get it. No, hey, listen, I get it. I'm not gonna fucking discount their like. I'm not saying that these people in South Chicago could do anything to improve themselves. Look at me. I'm a black man in South Chicago. I can just go ahead and just become open a business and no. It's like there's obviously certain societal issues.
I reject this. I don't buy this. I've heard this defense too many times, and I don't think it's very fair.
No, hold on. I'm not.
The idea that like, well, it's just entertainment. They're pushing a very clear political narrative, and they have a massive political bias. I don't think you can just hide behind that. Well, he's just trying to be entertaining by saying all feminists are cancer, all BLM is like Antifa and other violent movements. Like I don't think you can just say it's entertainment at that point. You're pushing a political narrative.
Well, I think can you acknowledge the fact that perhaps they're really pissed off at feminism because their only perspective into fucking feminism has been this fucking nutcase shit, whereas someone like myself won't do that because my perspective of feminism involves some of my friends.
Okay, but that's feminists. On like, them. They're public figures now. You have to do the research. And I agree with you. There are some cancer. I fucking hate Anita Sarkeesian and that McIntosh boyfriend she has. I think they're fucking crazy. But if I'm going to have a platform of hundreds of thousands of people, I have to do a little bit of due diligence when it comes to talking about feminism. Yeah. Sargon, when he went to that conference, he couldn't even define what feminism was. His definition was like movement rooted in neo-Marxist thought, whatever, like cancerous, blah blah blah. Like that was his definition of feminism.
I don't know. I haven't seen it, so I don't know.
It was the one where he defended his comment about that woman tweeted about being raped, and he was like, "I wouldn't even rape you." Like it was that. That's
a shitty thing to say.
Sure, but his whole fan base and everybody in the skeptosphere defends him for it.
Why do they defend him for that? That's like such a dumb thing to say to someone.
Because it's just entertainment. Because I don't know. You tell me.
I don't know. Listen, I'm not. The thing is, though, is that like these people. The point I'm trying to drive home is that these people aren't bad. I feel like maybe they're misinformed at certain things, or maybe they're misguided. Maybe they're caught up in this system of wanting to attain the most, and this is a system that we're actively in. Capitalism is a system of wanting to attain the most. You know.
Okay, so you keep saying this, and this is like the big problem that I have with the skeptosphere. You keep saying these people aren't bad. I agree with you. Are you familiar with the concept of a useful idiot?
No.
The problem is that, okay, so a useful idiot...
No, I'm familiar with the concept of useful idiot. Okay.
Yeah, that's what all of these people have become. And this, we're not bad, isn't a defense for the impact of their actions. When somebody says, like, well, I don't genuinely hate black people, that's not enough. When people like Richard Spencer will tweet, you can find his tweet, I can link it to you, if someone in chat links me, will literally say, like, oh, people like Lauren Southern, Sargon of Akkad, McGivens or whatever, these are really good stepping stones into white nationalist thought. When they mirror these talking points perfectly.
Hold on. I'll let you continue. I just want to say, why do we believe what Richard Spencer's saying and not believe what someone else is saying? Like, why is his opinion on these YouTubers as stepping stones into the alt-right suddenly an opinion that we should take as truth? This guy could just be trying to disrupt us, trying to do anything.
Why would they disrupt the skeptosphere? You're the perfect tool for them.
No, but that's what he's saying.
You are, though. Do you know, like, Lauren Southern?
Yeah, I know Lauren Southern.
You sound like she's a cool dude. Lauren Southern literally made a video about how Paris is falling apart. It's just her. This hurts. It's her literally her walking around.
It was her
in a ghetto, and nothing bad even happens.
Like
it's just showing brown people that look like you. She just sees a bunch of people that look like you, and this is her example of Paris.
No. They didn't look like me.
They were brown.
They had
Listen, to white people,
brown.
to us white people, all the brown people look the same, okay? So she saw a video. She saw a video of a bunch of brown people in Paris, and that was her example of Paris falling apart. That doesn't bother you?
That did irk me, but not to the point where I'm freaking out. Not to the point where I'm freaking out.
What do they have to do? Like, what's...
No, here's the thing, though. Once again, where you're from the States, I'm from Canada, so for us, it's a little bit more liberal here. We don't see this. So but I'm trying to admit, I'm telling you that I'm speaking from a very biased, privileged perspective. I'm like, we're like you can come to Montreal tomorrow and be like, oh, everyone's chilling here. Like, that's what you're going to say. You'll be like, everybody is chilling here. We obviously have some issues. We got to work on some stuff, but beyond that, we're chilling. Like, there's no racial tension. It's like a cultural tension between the French and the English, but that's even dissipating as well in the next generation.
So if somebody made a video for me, even if my community is okay, where they walk around and it's some liberal fuck and he makes a video like, look at how disgusting this community is, and it's a bunch of white people, the skeptosphere would be fucking infuriating. Actually, they already did this when one lady I want to say it was at a Democratic National Convention speech. She said something like minorities or white people need to shut up and listen to minorities. And in the greater context of the speech, it kind of made sense. Minorities, she phrased it maybe a little harshly, but minorities experience specific problems that white people don't necessarily know. They should listen to him, right? The skepto community went fucking crazy about this comment. Sargon quotes like, oh, you guys think that all white people should shut up. He quoted it in my conversation with JonTron. Everybody fucking echoed that. Chris Reagan, Armored Skeptic, all these people like amplified that. But then when Lauren Southern makes a video showing how destroyed Paris is being, because she has a 10-minute video of her walking through a ghetto in Paris that shows a bunch of brown people not even doing anything bad, it's like, well, that wasn't really the worst video. Well, I know her. She's a cool dude. It's like, damn, like all the excuses come out to excuse everything that's borderline. Like, unless I literally give you a video of Lauren Southern lynching somebody, and that wouldn't even be enough. It would have to be her lynching somebody, like, while wearing KKK clothes, with, like, a fingerprint ID scanner, and her mom right there to verify who she was, with her, like, saying, like, under penalty of perjury, I'm not here being forced by anyone. Like, you would have to go through so many things to actually say, like, okay, well, maybe that was bad.
I just feel like these people are young. And I know this is fucked up, like, to say we're 28, 29, we're able to see some shit, right? But, like, these people, like, are so fucking young. They don't know like, sometimes it feels like they maybe haven't seen as much of the world.
Okay,
as, like,
liberals are young and stupid too, though, especially the ones that are screaming and crying over dumb shit, but they don't get the same type of treatment. Like, you'll never see Sargon.
No, you're right.
Yeah,
no,
so that's bullshit.
Right. No, you're right. I agree. You're right. And, like, definitely someone should have made more of a stink over that fucking video, for sure.
So, do you want to?
Tim Pool interviewed someone and pretty much got, like, their perspective of the city, and he said, like, it's fine. It was just one specific part of town that has a higher concentration of people, but everything else is fine. Like,
well, no, don't say that. Even in that part of town, that was fine. It was okay that there were brown people there. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It is fine. That's what. No, but that's.
Well, because you said, like, everything else was fine. Like,
I'm just explaining what that guy said. That he just said, like, fine as in, like, whatever. I conflate words together. So,
okay,
like,
that's fine.
Meaning,
that's
like,
fine.
I don't mean, like, oh, it's fine because there's white people there. I mean, it's just
like, not all these people
are
super young, though. Like, Sargon, I'm pretty sure is like mid-30s. The McEvans guy is, like, pretty old, like 30s, 40s, 50s.
I haven't seen Sargon do something on, look at all these brown people here.
I mean,
in terms of, like, Paris, I haven't seen him do that. Like, and here's the other thing, okay? I can understand why Lauren Southern may have those views, and dude, I'm telling you, I met people from the south of France. They were like, we're here in Montreal because we find it safer here. And for me, I'm just like, okay, that's interesting. And then I asked them more questions about what's going on there, and they just say that the refugee crisis isn't being handled properly, that there's people just hanging out, and it's not the same. It's like not. It's not the way it's supposed to be. It shouldn't be like, there should be some kind of process in getting them in and integrated. That's what their primary complaint is. So
sure, and maybe there does need to be some kind of thing here. But, like, Lauren is literally on a boat in the fucking ocean trying to turn back ships that are saving refugees from drowning. Wasn't it like 5,000 people died in, like, 2016, 2017 trying to swim across or whatever? Like, holy shit, how much hatred do you have to have inside yourself to do this?
Because there is something to be said about, you know, certain things happening, you know, and, like, here's the thing, right? Like, it's not, I feel like we really just downplay these. I feel like we really downplay Islamic terrorism. We really do. And listen, I know maybe this is probably something we probably really strongly agree on,
I don't think we're going to agree on this, but okay. Keep going.
I know I'm not going to disrespect you for having a different opinion, okay? I'm just saying, like, based on how I was brought up, okay? I'm culturally Sikh, right? And for the longest time, I did identify as Sikh, and then I just kind of, and maybe in some ways I really do now. I kind of feel like I'm really being called back to that, So much so that I thought of maybe checking out India and going up north. And, like, the idea is that, like, our culture was born out of war with the Muslims. It was war with the Muslims. The only reason why Sikhs are around today are because the Muslim Empire was fucking destroying India, like killing people off. And there's some fucking brutal pictures. If you look up the Sikh martyrdom and you see the shit that was happening, this is real life shit. Like, this is stuff that happened to us. It's ingrained in my history. And like, this is something where I'm coming from. So I see this, and then I go and I see things like I see these bombings happen. I see these trucks running over people in Nice. Like, I'm seeing all this fucked up shit, and people are really afraid. They're okay. They're totally okay with saying mass shooters are a white person problem, but they're not afraid of saying, terrorism is a Muslim problem, and that's my issue, right? Because in doing stuff this way, what they're doing is they're pretty much providing these fucking people like Richard Spencer a platform, because they're saying, look, they're being dishonest. And the reality is that there is something happening. There's something in the Islamic ideology that is a little fucked up because of all the interpretations you can have. There's this lack of education that's in the Middle East, where people are kind of like, just like, they're like, it's like country bumpkins all over the place. So, and on top of that, they have a government that's like, this is the way it's got to be.
When you look at the United States, okay, you say that terrorism is being downplayed. When this shooting happened,
no, not United States. United States, I would say terrorism is not. I feel like terrorism is being overplayed.
I'm sorry. Okay.
They have had terrorist attack. Like there was the bombing in Boston. Which I'm not even sure. I think that was ISIS. I'm not sure though. I don't remember. I need to go back. There was the Muslim shooter at the nightclub Pulse. Was he a Muslim? He was.
There's people are kind of iffy if he actually had shit to do with it. Apparently, he called and said like, "I'm ISIS," like before the attack. But people are kind of wondering if he really did or if it was just a fucking meme or whatever. But
and then the San Bernardino shooter. So there's that, right? So, but in comparison, we haven't had North America hasn't had the amount that they're having over there, right? They're definitely having over there. You can't deny that, Stephen. You can't deny that they're fucking getting hit often with.
When you say often, though, Europe has over like what is the population of Europe? Like over 1 billion people, like.
People, right? And then there's only there's 50 people.
I'm sorry, 750 million people. But like, it's not like people are dying. Like thousands and thousands of people are dying every day to terrorism.
I agree.
And you've got like all of these skeptic people that will like
which is why they can buy it. But that's the thing. Like, you see it at that point. I see it at that point, too. I'm not thinking, oh, my God, Muslims are completely destroying everything. Like, I'm not thinking that. I'm thinking that obviously people want to retain their way of life. Like, no one's going to want to live in England and all of a sudden have, like, some Sharia law stuff. I hear things about – the only issue that I have with all of this, with this whole mass immigration thing, with this whole, like, I would have to say this refugee crisis is that they're not – effectively integrating these populations. Even the second and third generation Muslims, like the one of the fucking guys that did the London, he ran over a bunch of people and I think stabbed someone. I don't know what the fuck. Like everything's fucking mishmashing together. But this one guy was pretty much he was like an immigrant.
Yeah,
he was like
this one guy. How many tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of Muslims live there and don't commit terrorist attacks?
I know that. What I'm trying to say is that there was something wrong that was done in terms of getting that person to that point. Like there's just speaking from my perspective as a minority dude, like I'm telling you, like I had a really hard time coming to terms with my identity. Like I fucking hated my life growing up. It was so shit. I wanted to move to India. I was like, I'm going to fucking leave because people here don't love me. They don't want me. I'm looked as different. Like I don't want this. And then eventually things change as I opened myself up and became like a person that was more outgoing and willing to talk to people and build connections. And then, of course, Canada really helped with that because they've been really good at integrating people. They've been good at integrating people in the sense that, like, especially recently, because everybody that comes in, if you come to, for example, you come to Quebec or Montreal, you are going to have to send your kids to French school. Like there's no way around it. You're not going to be able to settle into a community that's going to be completely Muslim. It's going to be like, you're going to be mixed in with people regardless. There's people from everywhere. So for me,
people never talk about like we need to work more on integrating. It's we need to literally stop all of this immigration.
talking about fucking integrating. That's the thing. Like I align with these people because I'm anti-political correctness. I'm very pro-speech. Well, I'm tripping here. My fucking brain's melting.
Very pro-speech.
Yeah, very pro-free speech. Like that's what I want. Like I like, and I think that you want the same thing too. You don't want fucking people restricting speech, and I'm pretty sure that you're against political correctness too because you use racial slurs. I've seen you use them in fucking chats. Like you're like that's a thing that you do, and it's okay. It's fine. Like it's not a problem. I think that political correctness has gone too far. That's an issue with me because
sure. Okay. Hold on. I just want to focus on like this big immigration thing. Okay. So why is it that the skeptic community always takes the easy out here, right? So when we talk about shit, like this is a lot of complicated things. So firstly, the integration of a people into a country, that topic alone is massively huge, right?
So massive.
So what does integration even mean? Because in the United States, and I'm sure even in Canada, there are a lot of disparate groups. You've got the people in Quebec are very different than the people outside of Quebec, right? I'm sure the people in Vancouver are much different than people in rural fucking Essex County, or people in Toronto are probably much different than people. So what does it even what does it even mean to be integrated? Right? So this is a really complicated topic. The Middle East is a very complicated topic. Why are there refugees? Why is Syria almost a failed state? Who were the players on both sides? What happened all right? Now, these are topics that I would think that like, okay, we have a skeptic community. Maybe they'll dive into these topics. What is the United States' role in causing the downfall of people like Gaddafi or people like Assad? Like, why are we involved, right?
They're not asking
but that's never the question in the skeptic community. The question in the skeptic community is, how do we kick all these fucking darkies out of our fucking Europe? This is bullshit. Like, how can you defend that?
I'm not. Listen, I'm not. That's
but you've just given me a million reasons why that's okay. Well, there's a lot of terrorist attacks. Well, these guys are young.
Steven, are you trying to pin something on me? Is that
I'm
what's
not
happening? You're trying to make me wrong for something?
No. I'm not trying to make you wrong. I'm just trying to make you understand that, like, when I tell you you're doing these things,
I get it because I consider them my friends.
Okay,
Steven,
but
that's why.
No,
Steven, no, that's the thing, though. That is the thing. Because if you were to come talk to me about my fucking best friend in real life and be like, this guy did this, I'm going to be like, listen, like, I've had these conversations with him. This is what I see. Now I'm willing to listen to you, and I get it. I totally get it. I think that they should. They should be fucking asking questions as to why the fuck are refugees coming out? Like, what's going on? And maybe looking for alternate solutions as opposed to just a fucking Jewish question. Because I'm pretty sure Jews don't have a bunch of fucking people hanging out in Syria doing a bunch of crazy shit. Like, that. There should be these questions being asked. I get it. I totally get it. I get it. I'm not like, you're talking to one of the people in the skeptic community, in the quote unquote skeptic community, that isn't like fully like in and fucking ringing arms with everyone. I'm literally just, I've picked the people that I'm friendlier with. I want to talk to and like explore things with. And that's it. And now I've been recently expanding that to the SJW community because I'm like, there's obviously people here that are just chill. Like, there's people I can just connect.
I understand what you're saying, and I like what you're saying now, but every single person that I've brought on, the Jeff Holiday's guy, the Andy dude, Sargon, to some extent, every time I bring these people on, like, they always say this, oh yeah, well, I'm just trying to do what I think is best, and I don't necessarily just hate these people, and I don't love, right-leaning politics, but then tomorrow, all of them are going to go back to making videos. Look at what this Tumblrian has said. Look at what this SJW on Twitter said. Look at this horrible new bill that's trying to make it so that you get your dick cut off if you accidentally misgender a trans person. Like, that's what happens over and where are all the videos on the skeptic community criticizing Trump? Right? Trump is a.
I try to criticize Trump for sure.
Sure, but like, where are the videos on? If I go and look up any of these channels about Trump, all I'm finding is liberals mad Trump elected, liberals losing their mind over a new Trump statement, media assassinating Trump, like over and over again.
It's because the online, I would say online in general, they're just so fed up with like the mainstream media and it's full blown left lean. That's the thing. They have a lot of problems with that. So now you have these people online who are capable of presenting them an opinion that they can favor, and the exchange is view time, the exchange is impressions, the exchange is capital. So there's money to be made in being a skeptic. There's money to be made in being a skeptic because it's a growing community. I'm seeing this fucking community get billions of views. You think that there's some fucking people that aren't going to want to advertise to this community? There's
sure. And if you want to say it's all about the money, like, I'll agree with you on that. But that's not what they say.
I don't know what to say to them. Like, I listen. Here's the thing. This is such a funny conversation because I'm actually so chilled and relaxed. I'm just having a good time talking to you. This is so much fun. I didn't expect it at all. I thought I was going to fucking hate you. I thought I was going to hate you, but I don't hate you at all. I like you. So the thing is that like, if they are saying that they're all for everything, they want fucking people to be happy, and all they're doing is fucking taking out people on the fucking left, then that is a little hypocritical, and I understand that. And like, listen, I'm quiet about certain issues only because I'm honest to the point where I'm not going to talk about something if I don't know what I'm fucking talking about. I'm not going to be like,
but you came out and defended Buddha before you even admitted, before you even watched any of the videos.
No. Do not say that. Do not say that, okay?
You literally tweeted, I did a Project Paradise thing.
I did. I know what I said. I know that I came into his defense without having watched it, but I was talking about his character. I was talking about who I'd gotten to know. That's all I'm saying. I'm not talking about.
If we were at the Nuremberg trials, and Hitler was still alive and he was there, and somebody was like, okay, Hitler is an evil guy that murdered a billion Jews, and you come out and you're like, actually, I knew Hitler, okay? He was a loving father. He was super chill. We played billiards all the time. He was a super chill dude. Like, it's not the same thing, because this is not like an open close fucking case of propaganda. This is not an open. Then there's still so much to be explored. I agree. Let's watch the video. Let's watch the video then. Are you loaded it?
I hold on. Give me my Circle TV. Have you fucking made it?
Yeah, I made it.
We're supposed to do this ages ago.
What? Yeah. So let's watch the video and we'll see if it's an open and close. We'll see how much room there is to wiggle around here. Okay? We can just watch like a couple minutes of this, like a minute and a half. Okay? You ready?
We're not gonna cherry pick. We're not gonna cherry pick.
We're not cherry. Okay. Yeah. Oh, we can watch. I love not cherry picking.
Let's watch the whole fucking thing,
okay, let's start watching, okay? Let me know when you get it loaded up, and I'll play, okay?
Hold on. Part 1 was the question, right? Yeah, play. Go for it.
Okay. 3, 2, or I guess I'm just starting. It's working for you? It's playing?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's good. We're good watching together. Shh.
Many of you have reached out to me annoyed at what I'm doing. And if I could sum up the criticism generally, it would sound something like this. Why are you doing this? Why get into this topic at all? Antisemitism is one of the most brutal and horrific ideological notions in human civilization. Why not make more of your music? Why not talk about spirituality or introspection? Because the fact that you're addressing this topic at all says more about you than anything that could be said about the Jewish people or the Jewish religion. And seeing you get lured into this trap is disturbing.
Shush.
What the fuck is wrong with you? To those of you listening who also occupy this criticism, I understand. But I'm not making this to stir up anti-Semitism. Please let me ask you a question. Am I allowed to say anything about Judaism or Israel
so, can you pause for a second?
Jewish culture?
Sure.
How would you say that he's not doing to stir up anti-Semitism if he's doing it to stir up anti-Semitism? Like, why would that?
Because this is the whole point of like subversive or covert racism. Like,
so you think that it's actually like a thing that like people are trying to be covertly racist? Like that's like a thing? Like,
so this is the really frustrating thing when dealing with people today is that most racism is very subtle. So the thing is that people, and Jeff did this. Jeff will say like, oh well, look, I went after that huge racist over there. And then what you do is, real quickly, for an example, you're a media guy, so maybe you understand this, right? One of the reasons why platforms do you know one of the big reasons why they don't remove edgy content sometimes? Like, one of the really big reasons they don't do that is because if they start removing edgy content, then it's kind of like them tacitly admitting that everything else is okay, right? If you start removing content that you find ideologically abhorrent, then you're kind of saying that everything else there is stuff that you ideologically agree with, right? So they kind of don't do that at all, right? So, When what was the point of that? What was I just talking about? Oh fuck, I totally just lost it.
We're talking about covert racism?
Covert racism. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. So when you've got like 100 people standing in a line, okay, and like 5 of them are being like overtly racist, okay? And like 80 of them are being like in a very covert kind of way being racist. When you only target the overt dudes, right? It makes it seem like everything else is okay. And this is something that's really common that like Jeff does a lot, right? Well, listen, okay, I went after the big racist, okay? So I got rid of him, so everything should be fine. But then you have like all these other people that are being really subtly racist that nobody says anything about, and people make it seem like it's okay as long as you get the big guys. So like if you've got like 100...
But here's the thing. So we're looking at videos, right? So
okay.
In terms of like videos, all I can pretty much gather out of video is whatever's presented to me, like whatever they've actually pretty much just said in the video, right?
Okay.
So how is there any room for interpretation when he says like, you know, I'm not trying to be like anti-Semitic? Like, how is that something that they can go ahead and just push without
so when people try to push these types of agenda, are you familiar with the Southern strategy? Do you know what that means?
No, actually, I don't. Is that an American history thing?
Yeah, so this is a form of propaganda that's been known for a long time. So I think this happened around the 60s during the Civil Rights Movement. Basically, in order to appeal to racist people in the South, what Republicans found out was that you just can't be overtly racist anymore. You can't say, like, I hate N-words, right? So what you do is, it's something called, have you heard of the phrase dog whistling?
Yeah, exactly. But dog whistling, here's the thing. I've looked it up, and it's not politically biased. It could be on the left or the right. Like, it's not like a thing. It
can be, sure, but right now in American politics and probably mostly over the world, it's usually used by the right. So what a dog whistle will be is like if you're watching Fox News, okay? Now, there are going to be conservatives that disagree with this, but this is pretty factual. If you're watching Fox News and they use the word thug, they're probably talking about a black man. Like, that's a pretty clear dog, and you get that a lot. That's a pretty big dog whistle. Trayvon Martin was a thug. These thugs. Like, that's the kind of thing. Like, when I hear it, I get a little uncomfortable because it almost feels like a racial term at this point. Dog whistling is a way to tell people who believe, who support you, that you know what they know what you know. You know that they know what you know. But to everybody else, you can always say like, whoa, I didn't actually mean that, right? So when you start saying things like, black people need to take responsibility for themselves, okay? No more welfare. We're going to deport all the Mexicans, and we're going to build the wall, and we're going to keep Muslims from immigrating to the country. Like, whoa, dude, like, that's like, so it seems like you have a really big deal with brown people. Like, that's a lot of, like, racial shit, it seems. And then they're like, whoa, I'm not actually being racist. But then to everybody that knows, they're like, hell yeah, I support this shit. Like, yeah, get these fucking darkies out of here. Like, everybody that knows kind of agrees with them.
But this is the assumption that a majority of people are more inclined to align with these views.
Here's like another great example. I don't know if you've seen this before, but like, do you know where the insult like low IQ comes from?
Yeah, doesn't it come from Charles Murray? Like the whole thing about
this is actually like a huge dog whistle in the in like the race realist community. Like a lot of people that use low IQ as an insult. These are people that come from. Are you
asking me these questions because you think I'm retarded, or are you asking me these questions because you like just want to make sure that we're on the same page?
I just want to make sure we're on the same page.
All right, cool.
Okay.
Great.
Well, because we're talking about Southern strategy, dog whistling, like that's where dog whistling came from. Was the Southern strategy? It was the realization that you can't just be blatantly racist, so you try to signal in other ways.
You have to signal in other ways.
You say things like, "We need to protect our cities."
And the left don't need to do that, and the left don't need to do that because it's so open to be like not just. You can just be left if you want. And
I mean, maybe they might do it in other ways. Maybe like if a leftist says like a privileged person, they're talking about white people. That could be. I guess you could argue like the dog whistle.
That's it.
Sure.
That's it. Yeah,
so you could argue that maybe the left does dog whistling as well. But like it's a huge thing on the right when we talk about like anti-Semitism.
And I'm not gonna. And you know what? I'm not gonna debate that. I can definitely agree with that.
So
there's definitely a lot of that going, especially in the ones that are the alt-right members that are trying to be about marketable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely.
Sure. So these people, the new strategy is never, and this is like this, and again, this goes back to the Richard Spencer tweet that I got so upset at you for. This is the strategy. Nazis are not going to run around screaming and wearing crazy costumes and shit. They know that in order to make their message presentable, they phrase it in ways that are very appealing to the widespread people. Like nothing is wrong, really, in a vacuum, with saying like you should be proud of your white heritage. You should be proud of where you come from. You should have integrity about your European ancestry, right? That's the way that it's sold. But like the wink is like, like, yo, dude, white people are the fucking best. Look at what we've built in Europe, in America. Look at all these shit countries in fucking Africa, in Eurasia. Like, fuck these places. Like, these guys suck. White people are the best, right? You saw that a good dog whistle. Remember that video that was released by the Daily Wire about the The people coming over, the pilgrims coming over. Did you see this?
No, I haven't seen that video. I follow the Daily Wire.
There was a video that they released on Twitter, and it was like happy was it Happy Columbus Day, I think it was, and it showed that like all the Native Americans killing each other like brutal savages, and then it showed the European master race coming over, civilizing the savages, and it was like, okay, well, damn, that's a pretty loaded fucking thing. But it's like, this is the way you... Yeah.
I'm not going to... Listen, here's something that I want to stop doing completely.
Yeah, sure.
I don't want to deny the fact that, like, Europeans brought some good shit over to the West. Europeans brought some good shit over to India. My dad was born with a fucking silver spoon in his mouth because of the Brits. My great-grandfather was in the British Navy. My grandfather was in the British Navy. They lived land that was provided to them by the British government, and then that land was then used to kind of better the community that my dad lived in. So like my dad went to English schooling in in British schools, like British Catholic schools, and the thing is that like my dad is the way he is. He was
but the British Empire also like destroyed India, though, dude.
They didn't, but they did. I mean, India's around today. India's totally around today.
Yeah, sure. Like, and so are African countries catching up after like massive colonialism and shit. But
no, but here's the other thing, right? No, the other thing about India is that like it was a bunch of fucking tribes. This is now like in the last like 100 years, they're now like one tribe. You know, that's the thing. Like it's like it's not like there's so much more to be like said, and it's so like I find it annoying to deny that there was like colonialism wasn't easy. Like they weren't like, oh, let's go ahead and let's just do this easy thing and just fucking take over the darkies. Like people fucking died on both sides, and it was hard. It's not like the easiest thing.
I mean, we're getting a little revisionist. Like people with guns and shit had a huge advantage over like native people.
When India had fucking guns. We had fucking guns.
Okay, I can't speak to India in particular, but I know that when it came to like taking over Africa and shit, there was a lot of land that was taken over by a few people.
The full-blown West, sure, there's different scales, right? But in India, it was completely different. Like they were meeting a force that was like comparable. Like Sikhs weren't people to be fucked with, and that was at the time the Sikh Empire was what like was. It was pretty much the Brits were the one to disassemble the Sikh Empire. If anything, I should probably dislike the Brits the most because of what they did to fucking Ranjit Singh, who was one of the fucking emperors. Like there's all this shit that happened, but I'm not pissed off at white people for being cool with the fact.
And you don't have to be. I know, that's fine. I'm just saying that like when people make these arguments, listen, dude, and I'm not an SJW, and I'm not a liberal lefty fuck, okay? Again, I'll acknowledge the benefits of things like imperialism or even sweatshops, right? Like, I can acknowledge that there are two sides to all of these stories. But what you have to be really careful of is that people on the right that bring these things up, they don't stop there. They wouldn't say that, like, imperialism brought good things to India. They would go a step further, and they would go, Indians are so intrinsically fucking stupid that without the West, they would be nowhere. Yeah, right.
I know, but the thing what I'm trying to say is that maybe to encourage this element in society where people can be proud of who they are while not being an asshole. Because there's people who are proud of their European heritage. There's people who are proud, and they're being shat on for it, dude. It's like my friends feel. I would say like I'm going to go ahead and say the majority of my friends are actually white because I grew up in a predominantly white neighborhood, right? So that I see it in my friends when they see a fucking shitty head.
I totally agree with that. And I think that's a huge problem that dipshits on the left have, where they tell black people to be proud of their black culture, everybody else, but as soon as white people do it, it's right. And I agree that that's a problem. But reactionaries are also a problem, right? So like I can say that that's really dumb on the left. You shouldn't be doing that shit because it makes people fucking mad. But then that doesn't mean that now I'm going to go take up the equally retarded position on the other side, right?
Oh, no, and absolutely, I would definitely try to avoid doing that.
Okay, right, because reactionaries are bad. You don't ever want to be a reactionary, because you're just defining yourself as the antithesis of what you were trying to avoid defining yourself as, right?
Exactly.
So I'm sorry, so all I was trying to establish with the dog whistling and the Southern strategy and everything is that people nowadays that are racist are not overtly racist. It's always like in these more covert kind of ways. So we're going to keep watching this video. So we've gotten our disclaimer, right? Okay, so here we go.
Yeah.
Or even individual Jews themselves, without sounding like an anti-Semite? And if so, why is that the case? Given that on this channel, I talk about white people, and black people, and Asian people, all the time. Why is discussing the Jewish people in a general way, or in the same way one might discuss black crime, or Asian IQ rates, or white guilt, different? Because it shouldn't be. but I know that it is.
A German court sentenced an 87-year-old grandma to 10 months in jail for denying the Holocaust.
That YouTube star, PewDiePie, who was dropped by Disney for anti-Semitism, I think there's a development there, Emac.
I acknowledge that this topic is mired in historical sensitivity, but God forbid I talk about a subject that, for better or worse, surrounds the internet political subcultures we inhabit, and the idea of just burying it in the sand or pretending like it's not worthy of conversation is absurd. So I ask for your patience and an open mind, as my intention is to present both sides as best my biased mind can, and to leave the rest up to you. That said, what is the Jewish question?
Okay, so before we go in here, okay, I want you to be very, very cognizant of something, okay? Cognizant of something. When you're creating a video, and I don't know if you do like prepared content or not, but when you're creating a video, when you're shooting a movie or whatever, you're very particular when you're doing effects, when you're doing music, when you're doing images. You're very particular about what
that's why I brought up the tones and stuff like that. So and people were laughing at me. I'm like, why? It's just normal marketing shit.
So you're telling a story, okay? And you're doing it in
you're framing a narrative.
Yeah, and you're doing it in a very deliberate way. It's not an accident, right? So it's not, we're already getting into, but it's not super yet, okay? So we've already got this, like, people are getting in trouble for questioning anything about Jews. And it's like one story here, spooky music, and then another story here, spooky, right? He's going to do this.
Which is kind of shitty.
Sure, but he's going to do this a lot, okay?
I watched the video.
Yeah.
Let's continue to watch the video.
Okay, we'll keep going.
I watched the video.
Okay.
The Jewish question is the belief that a preeminent, influential global force resides within the world's banks, governments, and media corporations, and that those who dominate these institutions are Jewish leaders, most of whom hold interests that are antithetical to the West, with many favoring policies and influencing politicians who push for open borders and multiculturalism in the West, while simultaneously funding programs that maintain Jewish homogeneity in Israel. One aspect of the JQ insists that Judaism is a religious system dedicated to achieving dominion over the Goyim, or non-Jew, through coveted means, and say evidence for this claim rests in the Talmud, which is the primary source of Jewish religious law, with verses saying, quote, even the best of the Goyim should be killed. Many who ask the Jewish question are asking, should any small group that makes up less than 2% of the population have majority influence and control of that population? Starting with the U.S., the evidence one provides.
It's really interesting. Okay, so there's something that like we're so open to accepting is that there are fucked up verses in the Quran. Everyone is like, oh yeah, there's fucked up verses in the Quran, right? But nobody's willing to acknowledge that maybe there's fucked up verses in the Talmud. Like, then nobody is willing to acknowledge that. By the way, I'm not like kind of going into like, because I was having a conversation with a Jewish friend of mine, and I asked him, like, I said, dude, like, you know, I was talking about Islam reform. I was like, fuck, man, they should really reform Islam. Like, just make it more modern. I mean, like, Christianity has had a bunch of reforms, you know, like the New International Version, shit like that. Like, why don't they just reform it, right? And
Can I speak to that real quickly?
No, hold on. Let me just continue.
Okay.
I do apologize. Let me just continue.
Sure.
I'm gonna get to the point here. And the idea is like he's like Judaism only had one reform, and it was like way back when. And I was like, oh, interesting. And then I'm like, interesting. Nobody really talks about Jews the way like, you know, like everyone's cool. Like everyone's cool. Like I don't get it. Like it's not like, even though like that old revision is like what they're still using, they're still like very normal. So like
people stop talking about Christians too, though.
Yeah, I know. It's like nobody's really talking about it, right? So it's just like it's obvious right now that like we're able to overlook certain negative things written in religious texts, because I don't doubt that there was negative things written in the Talmud, because I've read the Bible. The Bible had some crazy shit. People will be stoned. Like you have to be stoned if you're an adulteress. Like, but like it's all there. It's all there, and we study it. So like it's funny that we talk about. Yeah, what's up?
Did you grow up pretty religious?
So I grew up, you know, with Sikhism. Sikhism is. Mm-hmm. Very open, like, you know, just care for people. Like it's super. Like you can look up the like.
What is like your holy text? I don't know shit about.
It's called the Guru Granth Sahib.
Okay, so I'm gonna make a guess about your religion without ever having, because I was very Christian growing up. I'm gonna go ahead and make a guess, and I'm gonna guess that if I find a Sikh in like India, he's probably going to practice his religion quite differently than a Sikh in Montreal. Is that a fair guess? They're probably going to have differing
yes,
views
yes,
on
yes.
some right. I'm willing to bet that even in Montreal, you probably have different Sikh churches or synagogue, or what do you call them?
No, we don't.
Wait, what do you?
We don't.
Wait,
no,
so
our Sikhs are like Sikhs are Sikhs. Like
so
we're
like
just like Sikhs.
every single.
Yeah.
Wait, I'm sorry. When I say different, I mean like if I were to visit a Sikh, what do you call your holy worship places? What are they called?
They're called Gurudwaras. Gurudwaras. Yeah.
Good. Oh fuck, I can't.
Guru.
Guru.
Dwaras.
Okay.
Dwaras. Yeah.
Lados.
Dwaras, not Lados, bro.
Guanos. Wait, what was the last?
Dwaros.
Guru.
Dwaras. Gurudwaras.
Guru Wados.
So Gurudwaras. Guru Dwaras.
Okay, Guru Dwaros.
That's fine, dude. Don't worry about it.
Listen, your churches, okay? I'm not a Sikh, okay?
You're not gonna say it.
If I were to go to different, if I were to go to your different guru places, okay, in Montreal, I could probably find preachers there, or whatever your holy men are called, your clergymen, that have differing political views. Some are probably a little bit more strict than others, right? Like I bet, like you probably have that one Sikh. No, all of them are.
No, they're very dude. I'm telling you, man. Like
it's all like super uniform. Like every Sikh person.
If you go to India, it's a little different. There, and I would say that nationwide, like there's a reason why Sikhs are really good at integrating within their societies is because of how uniform their religion is, because they are minority, so very much like Judaism.
Wait, so like all of you guys vote 100% the same in terms of politics and everybody, all of it?
I wouldn't say that 100% vote of them all the same because there's some conservative people. Like there's definitely a mix, but it's very much live and let live. We have a live and let live.
So like
and that's core of Sikhism is live and let live. So even though we were born out of war, we still we wouldn't fuck with Muslims if they're not fucking with us. That's the whole thing. So
sure, okay. So like in the United States, like Christians practice their religion pretty differently from one another, right? Like nobody would ever say that what does a Christian believe? So like you open the holy book and then you like read verbatim, this is what they do. I don't know how strict your holy book is, so I can't really say. But like people will do that shit with Muslims for some reason, which always bothered me, right? Like
Yeah.
Like a Muslim who practices Sharia law, for instance, in Saudi Arabia is going to be much different than a Muslim practicing Sharia law in Indonesia, right?
Yes. I just think that it just like adds a framework for oppression at that point.
It can, but I mean, the Christian Bible does as well for women, right? The Christian Bible views women as very less than men, but we still...
Yes, it's true. You're right. And like there's certain sects of Christianity that borderline like on atheism because of the fact that they just regard as like Jesus as like a fucking an activist, right? Mm-hmm. The idea about Christianity that I find super appealing, and the reason why like you were laughing at my fucking video about, I was by the way joking about that in that video. I wasn't like super serious about like this is the perfect foolproof explanation on why you shouldn't fuck your sister.
Sure.
That wasn't what I was doing. I was mainly having a conversation with a friend in real life who was also raised with like Christian values, because I mean I went to a Christian high school. Mm-hmm. And so we started connecting on certain things and like why we think the way we think. So why we think that incest is bad is because of the Christian upbringing that we've had, you know, and then, you know, tied in with like this whole idea of like, you know, trying to see the world as opposed to like, you know, just staying with what you know. So that's why I was bringing that up. And in terms of it. So anytime I record a video on Twitter or something like that, it's always from my perspective or something like that. So that's
sure.
It's just,
I'm just saying,
that changed.
Basically, yeah, I'm just saying that a lot of people practice their religion in different ways, right? That's not unique to any one religion.
But not really Sikhism, not really. Unless you go to India, there's some people that are a little bit fucked up there that go a little crazy. But in terms of the West, I find that the Sikhs, you'll find them all very similar, all super down to integrate their culture. Like my buddy was. Do
you guys have like dietary restrictions or anything?
Yeah, vegetarian. They're vegetarian. So the thing is
every
like,
single Sikh a vegetarian?
Not every single Sikh, but here's the thing, right?
So that's another variation, right?
No, but the thing is, when we go to temple, or when it's vegetarian. We only they'll never have a temple that serves meat.
Sure, but outside of the temple, some Sikhs are probably vegetarians, and some. Okay, so totally, even that is like a variation, right?
Yeah, and you should go to Gurdwara sometime because you'll actually get a food that's amazing. You'll get like Indian restaurant quality fucking food.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, I'm just trying to say like not all religious people worship in the same way, and then going like straight to the religious text. I see a lot of edgy skeptos do this sometimes, where you quote like one line from a holy book. Like nobody practices their religion that way. Nobody really does that. Like read the book and then go and be religious. Like it's way different in a lot of different areas.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
And you don't. And some Sikhs.
I think that we're obviously not against each other.
Okay,
this is
sure.
like
okay,
so obvious.
Yeah, I'm just okay. Well, then let's keep watching.
Yeah, let's go. Let's keep going.
To substantiate the JQ is as follows. Ashkenazi Jews make up 90% of the Jewish population in the U.S. And according to the U.S. Census Bureau, Jews make up between 1.7% to 2.6% of the entire population. Here's the question. How many Jewish CEOs of major media corporations, or owners of financial institutions, or Hollywood production companies are there? And is this number reflective of a group that holds around 2% of the United States population? The answer...
Okay, so before we get into this, right? So he's not just saying these are the arguments that they're making. He's saying these are the arguments they're making. Here are the facts to back it up, right? That's what we're doing right now, right?
I see. When I watch that, I'm like, fuck yeah, Jews.
Well, because like he could have just said that a lot of Jewish people are really wealthy. It would have been totally valid. He could have said a lot of Jewish people are very wealthy, but that's not what we're about to do. We're about to go on a journey, dude.
I'm not even joking, dude. Like the amount of businesses that I've worked with in which people like Jews just have. I'm so gifted to have I'm so privileged to have grown up in the Jewish community because everybody is like, they're so community oriented because of all the stuff that happened in their history, that they're so down to like just work with people and make shit happen. Like they're so down to do that, and like that's what I love. So when I hear about stuff like this, like them being in the media, and I'm like fuck yeah, that's obviously something they would do because it's something to do. It's just the way it is. It's just like I've seen like how we operate. I'm gonna say we because like honestly, for the longest time when I was like with my friends, I would be like I was like the honorary Jew. I was just the guy that was just around, I'm like fucking one guy out of there. So like it was like it's like I see that element and I'm just like sick, fuck yeah. So I can understand how someone who doesn't like Jews can see that and be like, oh, of course they are, like evil Jews, I get it.
Okay, you ready? We're going.
Let's go.
Answer is Jews are drastically overrepresented in positions of power. Abraham Foxman, national director of the ADL. Jeff Zucker, president of CNN. Robert Greenblatt, chairman of NBC. Rupert Murdoch, chairman and CEO of Fox News. Summer Rothstein, chairman of Viacom. Henry Kissinger, former U.S. Secretary of State. Robert Zoellick, former president of the World Bank. Alan Greenspan, chairman of the Federal Reserve from 1987 to 2006. Ben Bernanke, chairman of the Federal Reserve from 2006 to 2014. Janet Yellen, the current chairman of the Federal Reserve. Lloyd Blankfein, chairman and CEO of Goldman Sachs. Mark Zuckerberg, owner of Facebook. Larry Page, founder of Google and now the owner of YouTube. Gary Barber, CEO of MGM. Robert Iger, chairman and CEO of Disney. Michael Lenton, chairman and CEO of Sony Pictures. Brad Gray, chairman of Paramount Pictures. Leslie Mooms, chief executive of CBS. Harry Sloan, MGM chairman. Harvey Weinstein, co-chairman of the Weinstein Company. I really could go on and on and on.
So just a quick, did we really need to list out like 20 different people?
I know, right? I know. I understand what you're saying. I totally get it.
Okay.
It's definitely to add like dramatic. I feel like it's definitely to add dramatic effect because it's super engaging. I'm sorry. It's like
it's really good. It's really good, like Nazi propaganda. Yeah.
I'm not gonna say.
Okay. We can keep going.
Say that yet.
Let's listen to him debunk these arguments now. Okay. All right. We'll keep going.
Because the amount of Jews who own the most powerful banking and media companies in the world is stunning. Control over banks yields control over currency. Control over currency yields control over media corporations. Control over the media yields control over the government. And control over the government yields control over the people.
All right, the other side.
But a common rebuke to this is as follows. These facts on their own say nothing of importance. Just because Jews are overrepresented in positions of power and influence says nothing about their intentions or their motives. In fact, one need only look at the average IQ rates of Ashkenazi Jews for a simple answer to all of this. Ashkenazi Jews are the smartest people in the world. Therefore, any society they end up in, they are more able to climb the ranks of our capitalistic ladders and become successful. And for people who value free markets, one would think you would appreciate the rapid success of the Jewish people in America. Yeah. Not to mention the fact that most of these Jews who own banks or who own media corporations are atheists who have nothing to do with their so-called Goy-hating religion or their culture, and who are obviously fully assimilated to the West. Think of people like Steven Pinker or Sam Harris or Gad Saad or Albert Einstein, or comedians like Andy Samberg, or Judd Apatow and Adam Sandler. People who obviously are a threat to no one, who have no secret agenda of Jewish dominance. Also, too often, the people who criticize Jews for being tribal or for having strong in-group preferences are the kinds of people who wish for their own race to be just as tribalistic. And I haven't even mentioned all the libertarian Jews, like Milton Friedman, or Ayn Rand, or Ben Shapiro, or Dennis Prager, Jews who obviously love America and the values they represent. The truth is, Jews are smart, and they work together. Therefore, they are successful. It really is that simple.
Okay, pause it.
Okay, so we had
Do you understand how, like, that's, like, for me, when I'm coming into this, is like, I have a perspective. I'm coming in. My perspective is, fuck yeah, Jewish people, all right?
Okay.
And then you have people who have coming in with a perspective that's like, fuck no, Jewish people. You know what I mean? So the people who have fuck no Jewish people will get that whole beginning there, right? And I totally understand, and I agree with you how it can seem like something that's like, yes, we got some material, guys. Let's send this to our fucking butt buddies and the alt-right. I totally get it. I agree with you. I know that they can cherry pick that and they can take that away. But someone coming in with someone who I wanted to be Jewish. I wanted to be Jewish at one point. I was like, guys, how do I get my fucking free trip to Israel? Can you please take me? I would like to fucking go to Israel. So someone like me coming along, and I see that part, and I'm like, all right, there we go. He's redeemed everything.
Okay, but like, if you're somebody in the middle, he just spent 5 minutes building a really convincing argument. He listed like 20 business owners. He sourced the Talmud. He put a lot of statistics, a lot of graphs.
I know where you're coming from.
He made a real, and then in like a minute and 40 seconds, he was like, okay, but a lot of Jews are just real smart, so it's obvious that he's not. And it's like,
I know, but that's the thing. For me, it's so obvious. I feel like it's so obvious. I'm like, yeah, it's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. Like, I'm like, obviously. So that's why for me, like that 2-minute segment or whatever it was like nothing. It was.
But what about for somebody in the middle? What about for somebody that wasn't sure?
I know, and I understand. I'm telling you, dude, I understand exactly where you're coming from. I know where you're coming from. You're coming from that point where you're like, what if someone's on the fence? What are they not like? What if they're not like as super aware of? They haven't spent time in it. I agree. Okay, I agree. But once again, just in my conversations with him, okay, he said that he wanted to be super fucking objective. Right? This is something he wanted to be like objective, and even the disclaimer suggests.
Why didn't he spend more time on the counter argument here? Why did he just blow over this in like a minute and a half?
Because it's almost as if the counter argument is so fucking effective that it just makes no sense to spend more time on it than it needs to be. You literally just need to be like, yeah, but this is dumb. Like, it's really just like, yeah, but it's dumb because look at this, and this person. Like, or like, you just need to go outside and interact with a Jewish person to know that they don't want to fucking kill all goyim. Like, that's the way it like works. Like, it's just like so. It's for me. It's so obvious. It's so obvious that you don't need to be an anti-Semite because of how, and because I came in with that perspective, and because I have all these I've had these conversations with him about the alt-right or about ethnostates or the fact that he doesn't want me in a concentration camp. Like I'm more inclined to believe that this isn't propaganda, and he's just pretty much presenting both sides the way that they kind of get presented all the time, because I don't spend all my fucking day explaining why anti-Semitism is bad. All I need to do is look at someone and be like, are you anti-Semitic? And if they're like, yeah, I'm like, well, you're fucking out of your mind, because there's clearly a bunch of people that go contrary to exactly what you believe in. So it's like, it makes no sense. Like, and what I mean is like the fact that they think that Jews are out to get them. Obviously, Jews aren't out to get them. They're down to fucking help people out. They're the most generous people I've fucking met. My family is more cheap than fucking Jews. It's crazy. It's insane. So the idea is that it's so easy to be like, yeah, but it's okay. Like, these guys are fucking tripping. They're just thinking too much. They're like thinking that these people have this conspiracy to fuck everyone over. You go to Israel, you got a multi-ethnic state. You got Jews from Africa, you got Jews from India, you got Jews from China. They're everywhere. Like, it's not about like this idea that Jews are a race is the dumbest fucking thing I've ever seen. Like, it's a fucking religion. How do they get this?
So like
I don't
if
get it.
I were to make a video and I was like, we're going to analyze the difference between creationism and whether or not the world, is actually, 3 billion years old. So some would make the argument on the creationism side. The Earth is only 6,000 years old. If you look at the fossil records and carbon dating, all of it is used to circularly justify each other. And you go on and on and on and on and on.
The world's only 2,000 years old.
And then you were to and then you were to reverse it, and then you would go, but if you go outside and you talk to a scientist, these guys are crazy. And then you're like done. And it's like, oh, well, look, he presented the arguments on both sides. Like,
yeah. Like I said, dude, like I said, I've said this. He told me that his videos weren't crafted properly. Like, they weren't crafted in the right way.
Okay.
Right?
Do you want to watch the rest of this? Finish out the last 2 minutes or whatever?
Let's watch it.
Okay.
But many who see credence in the JQ respond to this critique by fully acknowledging the IQ disparity among Jews and all other races as a factor in Jewish success. Of course, Jews are smarter than most of us, and this is part of the problem. But the bigger point is that Jewish influence in the West is not predicated on all Jews believing the same thing.
Okay, so stop. He even gave a response to the response. He gave a counter argument.
Can you repeat that one more time? Sorry, I do apologize.
So we had the whole spiel for point A. What?
Go back.
Go back. I'm sorry.
I just want to hear it again because I was distracted.
Sure, I'm sorry. No problem. So I'll end with this, where he gives his weak little thing, like, well, this is what the Jewish lovers say, and then he even gives a counter-argument to the Jewish lovers. Here you go.
Are the kinds of people who wish for their own race to be just as tribalistic. And I haven't even mentioned all the libertarian Jews, like Milton Friedman, or Ayn Rand, or Ben Shapiro, or Dennis Prager, Jews who obviously love America and the values they represent. The truth is, Jews are smart, and they work together. Therefore, they are successful. It really is that simple.
I got it.
Okay, but hold on.
But many who see credence in the JQ respond to this critique by fully acknowledging the IQ disparity among Jews and all other races as a factor in Jewish success. Of course, Jews are smarter than most of us, and this is part of the problem. But the bigger point is that Jewish influence in the West is not predicated on all Jews believing the same thing. There are obvious exceptions to every rule, but the exceptions, meaning the Jews who don't care that they're Jewish, or who seem to have no serious semblance of Jewish identity, says nothing about all the Jews in power who do. That said, some would claim that many of these so-called exceptions that were previously listed to debunk the JQ are in fact full of tribal in-group preferences. Judd Apatow, for example, with the exception of Steve Carell, has given all his starring roles to his fellow Jews. Adam Sandler, Seth Rogen, Jonah Hill, Jason Schwartzman, Sarah Silverman, Andy Dick, Paul Rudd, Jason Segel. Also, Sam Harris, Gad Saad, Ben Shapiro, Dennis Prager, Milton Friedman, and Ayn Rand are all pro-Israel, with Albert Einstein even donating to Zionist groups. But many
So he just destroyed the counter-argument that he put in the video. We got like one more minute. We can just finish it out. But
JQers don't necessarily
can we go back? Go back a bit. Like, I just want to go back because I want to rewatch like maybe last 30 seconds if you can.
Sure.
If you don't mind.
So all the people that he's listing now, Sam Harris, Ayn Rand,
I know.
These were the people that were in the counter-argument. Okay.
Previously listed to debunk the JQ are in fact full of tribal in-group preferences. Judd Apatow, for example, with the exception of Steve Carell, has given all his starring roles to his fellow Jews. Adam Sandler, Seth Rogen, Jonah Hill, Jason Schwartzman, Sarah Silverman, Andy Dick, Paul Rudd, Jason Segel. Also, Sam Harris, Gad Saad, Ben Shapiro, Dennis Prager, Milton.
I know what you're saying here. Like, but I think the thing is that it almost sounds like it's his opinion, but he's really kind of just presenting what the alt-righters would say, like that it's really just like this is what's happening, like this is what they're saying, right?
Okay, but as long as you agree, this isn't a video on both sides. This was a video presenting one point of view. He gave a weak-ass counter-argument, and now he's demolishing the counter-argument that he gave.
We're probably going to agree on this, so continue. Let's watch the video.
Okay, sure. Just for another minute and a half.
And Ayn Rand are all pro-Israel.
He's even flashing like the echo symbol, but
Albert Einstein even donating to Zionist groups. But many JQers don't necessarily say this in-group bias is a bad thing. If anything, they applaud it and do in fact wish that many within their in-group would live the same way. The argument is that obviously Jews represent a plurality of views, but their in-group bias, no matter how mundane, is more sinister, calculated, and clever than others, claiming there is something inherent within Jewish identity, an identity mired in the Talmud, an identity mired in a culture continually forced into surviving by any means necessary, that makes it more problematic, overtly selfish, and dishonest, giving rise to troublesome behaviors, which have been mirrored and repeated in every society they travel to, and inevitably get kicked out of, something that will be expanded on in part 2. But what exactly are Jewish interests? And how, or even do, they differ from American interests? How many times exactly have Jews been kicked out of societies? And are they being removed solely because of jealousy and irrational fear? Is anti-Semitism the real problem? Does this reoccurring phenomenon of Jews having so much trouble throughout history have more to say about us or them? Or is it a mixture of both? All of this and more in part 2.
So this was the good video.
Yeah, no, man. He definitely only presents pretty much like he doesn't only present one side, but he definitely presents a majority of one side. Yeah, no, he does.
And
He doesn't
this
it doesn't
is the
balance
good
out.
video.
It doesn't balance out. Yeah, I know. The second video, the second half kind of really fell apart. I know what you mean. And I acknowledge it for sure. Yeah, I don't.
Can we,
what's up?
real quick, I'm gonna link you this. Did you watch the full streamable?
The full streamable?
Yeah.
No, I haven't.
Okay, I linked you
No,
streamable. Can we just watch this real quick? Because this isn't a
Yeah,
video.
just upload into my circles of you. I'm pretty sure you can watch it in there too.
Even a streamable? Okay, hold on.
I'm pretty sure. Let's try it out. Just go to the search thing and you can be able to find it. Maybe.
No, I can't do it on my circle. But we can just start it at the same time, okay? We only watch like up to like a minute and a half. It's a shorter one, okay?
And by the way, if the minute and a half mark is when he's talking about Israel, right? He's like Israel, like this, that.
No, that's
happened.
actually later on. We'll just watch like the first like minute and a half of this, okay?
Okay.
All right. Let me know when you're ready.
I started.
Oh, okay. Wait. Go to the beginning, and then we'll start at the same time. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You ready?
Hold on.
Okay.
Okay.
3, 2, 1, go. Wait. Did you start?
Yeah.
Before I get into this video, I want to say that my focus toward critiquing the alt-right has been in bad timing, and that my attention on them has created a self-induced distraction from the real problem in the Western world. And the alt-right see crystal clear. And although I stand by every
Can we pause for 1 second real quick? Sorry.
Yeah.
What time are you at right now?
It doesn't tell me the time here.
If you scroll down to like the time bar.
31 seconds.
Okay, 30. So what he's laying out here, the alt-right sees something crystal clear. That's the Jewish question. The alt-right is very big, very anti-Semitic. Do you know that?
But I know it.
Okay.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do, Destiny.
Okay,
Destiny.
I
know that.
Well, because there's like a million. I thought that
Destiny,
Shapiro.
contrary to what you build up to your audience, I'm not a fucking retard.
No.
Dude.
Listen,
I'm not
I thought that
centrist autism either. You fucking rat.
Okay, listen, I thought that Ben Shapiro was alt-right at one point. Okay, I didn't know that like anti-Semitism was a huge thing in like alt-right. So I just learned this like a few months ago. Okay, so I was just making sure. All right, we're gonna start again, or at 31 seconds or whatever. In 3, 2, 1, go.
Speaking with many intelligent, trustworthy people, I now feel that my attempts to criticize are falling into the hands of a leftist system that disgusts me. A system that holds all of the power and influence. A system run by people whose goal is to slowly and strategically and incrementally change the face of the West.
This is the Jewish question.
This is not an apology, but merely a nod of the head and an acknowledgement that the enemy of my enemy is my friend. And why do I bring up the alt-right in a video that will be about censorship? Because the alt-right will be the first to get sucked into a YouTube black hole. Google and YouTube sees these people under a banner of ignorance and delusion, and their delusions extend to anyone who holds ideas that are similar, and I refuse to allow my channel to echo in the same direction.
Stop. So you heard the echo meme, right? His little dog whistle there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like, we're talking about the Jewish question here.
No, I saw this and I sent it to him. I was like, what the fuck does this mean? That's why I asked, and I haven't got a response yet, so I don't know.
Okay, but like, you're really gonna ask him? Like,
no, I want to know what the fuck he's gonna say to it, because then I would like to see what his response is, so then I can be like, all right, well, this is bullshit or this isn't bullshit.
Can I tell you what his response? I'll tell you what his response will be. Do you want to know exactly what he's going to? Okay.
Please tell me exactly what it's going to be. I want to know.
His exact response is going to be, I think that YouTube is engaged in the systematic censorship of ideas that they consider dangerous. They don't want people questioning this leftist narrative that we need to bring in a whole bunch of people to destroy Western civilization via immigration, multiculturalism, and diversity. All I want is a platform where I can speak out, not to say that we should hate black people or anything. I just want to question these policies, because nobody's even allowed to question multiculturalism without being called a racist, without being labeled evil, without being labeled a Nazi. And you already see people doing...
Which I kind of agree with. That's the thing.
Okay, but no. That's the whole point. That's not what he's doing. That's what he'll claim he's doing. He'll say that, like, look, people are already calling me a Nazi. I've already won the argument because people are already... But he's actually just putting out Nazi propaganda. And he's trying to hide it under all of these other things. He's trying to, covertly say that, like, this is not what it's about.
But if he was doing that, why would this video not be on his channel?
Maybe... I don't know why he removed it. You'd have to ask him. I'm not sure. Maybe he thought that it was a little bit too...
Yeah, and that's why Destiny. That's why, Steven, I asked him. Because I want to see what his fucking answer is. But now...
Okay, but if you found a secret video from...
Now that... Here's the thing. Here's the thing, though. Now that we know this, now that we're talking about it live on stream in front of I don't know how many people, obviously he's going to see it too. So anything that you just said, he's not going to say. I mean, that's what I would do if I was trying to be a fucking secretive Nazi. That's, like... So, I mean, ultimately, that's why I ask these questions, so I can use my judgment and kind of figure it out.
Yeah, but I just gave you the answer he's going to give you. I know that's what he's going to say, and then you're going to eat it up. You're going to go, well, look, he's just trying to question some of these.
I'm not going to, dude, Steven, I'm not going to eat it up now. You fucking told me it. Like, I'm not going to wait for it to just, like, I'm like, oh, yeah, please feed me whatever I want to hear. I don't want, like, I'm trying to actively fight against what I want to hear. Like, that's the thing. Like, I don't want to hear, like, I want to know the world for what it is, and that means maybe hearing things that I don't want to fucking hear, bro. It's really just that simple, you know? So, and that even includes shit about Jews. And that's the thing. And it sucks because I put myself in this place where I have to open myself up to these possible ideas. Like, maybe I am a fucking subhuman, even though I'm not. I'm fucking chill, you know? But I'm just like, I have to be like, all right, well, what's their argument? Okay, that's this, and this. All right, well, it makes no sense to me because of this. You know, like, I just got to figure that out for myself. So, like, I don't know what he's gonna say. Okay. I'm not a dummy. Sure. I'm like, listen, I fucking like, I guess maybe because people didn't know I'm a marketing guy. That's why I'm like calling out like, oh, the tones and stuff like that. Like, they're like, why is he?
I understand what you're saying, and I understand everything that you're saying, but the problem is just that, like, you have a community that will connect like the loosest pieces of evidence together that will honestly say shit like Seth Rich was murdered by Hillary Clinton. And I know this because in one email, somebody used the letter C 15 times, and that's code words. If you go back to like...
I think it goes beyond that,
and then everyone in the skeptic community will be like, oh, yeah, it could have happened. But then when a guy releases very convincing Nazi propaganda, we're like, well, let's wait for the 15th video.
You see everyone in the skeptic community fucking says, oh, yeah, cool. I haven't seen anyone really talk about Seth Rich in my group at all. I haven't seen fucking Andy Warski talk about Seth Rich. I haven't seen like Splitter White talk about Seth Rich. I haven't seen any of these people. I feel like
maybe they might not come out and like overtly say it, but they will make a lot. Okay, but they don't. But they'll make a lot of jokes like, "I don't want to talk about this bad thing about Clinton because I'm going to commit suicide with 2 bullets in the back of my head." Like they'll reference it.
The thing I say, I've never heard one person say like, "I don't want to criticize fucking."
You've never heard this meme where like, "Oh well, watch out what you say about like the Clintons. You don't want to get shot and killed or whatever." Like or the Pizzagate shit.
Yeah,
or, like,
I know what you mean. Okay, no, sorry, I was on a completely different page. I apologize.
It just seems like Oh, even Sargon Avocat on Twitter. His name was #Seth Rich. It's deleted now because his But I see this on like a Google search. Like, I just wish that like what you're saying right now is this is what I would call peak skepticism. What you're saying right now is okay. Where you're being hypercritical of exactly what this guy believes. It's not necessarily a bad thing. I think you're being a little naive, but it's not necessarily a bad thing. But the problem is that it's not applied to the left. It's only applied to people that you want to agree with, right?
I'm starting, Dustin.
Okay. I love you, buddy.
You actually mean that? You actually mean that?
Sure. I mean, you seem... Listen, man, when I Googled your channel...
Sure, you called me a fucking peak centrist autist. That's what you fucking called me,
well,
man.
Because you are kind of... I mean...
You call... No, you call... Oh, they're nice to me in person. Like, you think I'm just going to be fucking nice to someone that just because they're nice to me in person? Like, I don't need more friends.
Okay, listen.
I don't need more friends. I've got so many friends.
Sure, can I talk to you, like, real quick, okay? There's a thing in psychology, okay? You ever play video games online or no?
No, Destiny. I've never played video games online. I don't know what video games are.
I don't know your like background in like video games. Okay, do you ever play MOBAs? Do you ever play League of Legends or whatever?
I played Dota too for a little bit.
Okay, you played Dota. Do you ever play Call of Duty or anything?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I love shooters.
So
yeah, I play Siege. I play
Call of Duty might not be the best thing. Most console people, I literally subhuman. But like. In psychology, right? Most of the time, and if you look at like military training, right? Most of the time, or so I've been told and I've read in multiple places, the way that we work to hate groups of people is usually by dehumanizing them, right? It's really, really hard to hate somebody that you know on a personal level. They have to like do some fucked up shit. Would you agree with that? Right? So like, I might hate Indians, okay, and I'll even like go to poll and I'll post about it. But if I meet you in real life, you seem like a really chill dude, okay? You probably don't, poo outside the loo or whatever the fucking Indian memes are, right? Or whatever, right? If I met you in person, I'd probably like you. Even if I legitimately hated Indians, I'd probably still like you, and I would start making excuses like, well, Bunty's not like the other Indians, like Bunty's not like those guys.
But that's the start, dude. That's the start, and I see an opening there. That's the thing. I'm trying to make that opening so that more people can be like, oh, this Indian guy's not cool. Let me find another. Oh, that Indian guy. I'm not remarkable, dude. I'm not some fucking fucking crazy alpha male out of nowhere. Like, I'm very much an average person in Canada. Like,
sure.
There's other people who I think are way fucking smarter than me that aren't doing YouTube. Like, these are people that are like stuff that are like,
and that's cool. What you're talking about is cool, but the problem. The problem is that it's possible for those types of people. So I don't know if I'm pretty sure you've tweeted about this. People got real fucking mad when I used the term Uncle Tom, okay? I'm not using that as an insult towards you, but like the problem is that there are these people that serve as these, and I'm not trying to say this in a racist way because I won't even talk about black people.
I know exactly
that serve as these Uncle Tom-esque figures. So like somebody that hates
stop using
gays.
That, though. You got to stop using.
Okay, sure. Tokens. That's racist too, but I don't know what.
Just eliminate that from your vocabulary. Like,
can I say tokens?
No, dude. I'm not saying you can use it however you want right now. Like, talk about it as much as you like right now. I'm just saying that going forward in the future, like, try to maybe like not like because that's a form of dehumanization by just calling them a fucking Uncle Tom, and over and done with it.
Okay,
just
sure.
Like me calling
you
Shrimpy like an asshole.
Okay, sure. That's fine. So the problem that I'm talking about is that people are, whether they know it or not, are held up as evidence that are contrary to what you would say to somebody. So let me give you an example, okay? So like, let's say that I've got a group of people and all of them are anti-gay marriage, anti-gays in every possible way, and you'll say some shit like, okay, you guys are really homophobic. They'll say some shit like, well, I'm not homophobic because look, I'm really big fans of Milo Yiannopoulos, and Milo himself said that gays are lazy. He wouldn't hire gays, and he wishes he was straight. So how can you call me anti-gay when I'm big fans of Milo? Or how can you call me anti-trans? Trans people are crazy. It's a disease. Blair White says it, and she's my trans representative, so I can be anti-trans. You can't say that I'm anti-trans because I'm fans of Blair White. Or Bunty, or some black guy. These are brown dudes. How can you say that we're racist because we want to get rid of all brown people when I'm friends with these brown guys? You can't call me racist. They're brown, and they think we're cool people.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I get it. Dude, I get it. Because they found that one cool person that they can relate to. And I can see that in some of my audience members. I can see that they're like, oh, you know, like, because I do have some audience members that disagree with me in terms of race mixing and stuff like that, because they're more right-leaning in the sense that they want racial homogeneity. Did I say that right? I didn't say that right. It's not a big deal.
Homogeny? I'm not sure, but I'm not sure. Go ahead, say I don't know.
You know.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah. A homogenous society. Yeah.
Yeah, pure homo fucking race. Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I see that. I definitely see that they have this attitude now where they're like, well, you know, I can kind of like just say this and it's okay, like, because I have this person that's, I get that. I think that you and I have a really different approach to all of this whole social issue. My approach is very much like I'm really willing to stomach the views of these people if they will give another person a chance. If they'll give me a chance, if they'll give someone a chance to just be me and just hang out and just chill. Because then they'll realize that I'm not really that a fucking above average. That I'm just a guy that's like this, and that I am truly representative of the norm.
And I understand that.
And to focus less on race as opposed to people, content of character, literally content of character. I'm not gonna fucking date a girl who I think is dumb. I'm not gonna do that. Okay. I'm gonna date a girl who I think is intelligent. I'm gonna date a girl who I can talk to about fucking Charles Dickens, who I can talk about Dostoevsky. I can talk about these fucking things. Like, I want to be able to talk to someone about this shit. I lose my mind if all she's talking about is fucking The Bachelor. I don't want that.
Sure.
You know?
And what you're doing there, I understand that. Are you familiar with me in like my JonTron conversation?
To a degree, I know that. I know that you denied that it was like riots happening in Sweden, and there were riots happening in Sweden.
Sure.
There were riots.
Okay, regardless of all of that, like after the JonTron conversation, I didn't want JonTron to get kicked off anything. I don't like deplatforming people. I said that I want JonTron to continue to work with people. I don't want to remove from projects for the same reason you just said, because I want people to work with more people that are of color, that are of different religions, that are of different genders, however many millions of genders are now. Right? I want people to experience some of these things because I don't think it's really hard to be racist if you have to deal with these people every single day. The thing that you just have to be careful of, because I understand what you're saying specifically, and maybe for a couple people, it turns out that maybe they stop hating Indians or whatever because they know Bunty and he's cool. But what can happen on the larger scale is instead you end up reaffirming the racist beliefs of all these people because they say, well, look, you say that we're all racist. Even Bunty agrees with us. Even some black guy agrees with us. Some black guy was sitting here tweeting out like the craziest defenses of Mouthy Buddha's video, and it's like, holy shit, like trying so hard. Well, dog whistling doesn't necessarily mean it's about race. It could be other things.
No, you know that I said the same thing. It doesn't necessarily mean that. It doesn't.
I mean,
let's be real here. Let's be real here. Dog whistling has a definition. Racism
sure, and the Jewish question
could
also refer to a question on a history test. But I mean, like, typically, when we talk about the Jewish question.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean. I'm
just saying you have to be careful. You don't want to be a tool that's used by a bunch of racist fucks to enable their racism, where they go, fuck Indians, fuck brown people. And you're like, dude, that's racist fuck. And you're like, no, that's reality. And even people like Bunty agree with it. Look, he's on our side.
No, that's the thing. They would probably never be able to do that with me because I'm not. I'm definitely. Are you fucking kidding me? If I heard someone say "fuck brown people," I'd be like, "You think I just chill?"
But
there?
they never say "fuck brown people." That's the thing. They say we don't think that forced multiculturalism and PC culture is healthy for the West, and then you're there to back them up on that. Their inner message is a lot more insidious.
Because that's a fucked up thing. I agree with force, like the fact that just people are just coming in and like they don't have integration laws, they don't help people get into, dude, like how is it that, like, you know, as an immigrant, no, I'm not an immigrant, I'm born and raised, but my parents came here legally. My dad had to fucking struggle to get some shit done, you know, and there's people who are coming here and it's guaranteed there's people who are coming here that aren't coming here to document. By the way, I'm talking to the States here. All right. So, I mean, Canada is really, really strict, but like still now we're having something south of the border with Haitians. And they're being housed in the Olympic Stadium. And it's just like they're coming here and they're benefiting from a system. Like I have to go, dude, Steven, I got to fucking work, man. I'm thinking of like, I just recently took on my marketing company as a contractor. Like I'm a contractor now for them. I'm not working there. They're my client now. So I need to seek opportunities in terms of like getting
seek opportunities.
Yeah.
Sorry.
What do you? I don't get it. Is
oh,
that
because you're a Sikh?
Oh.
Sorry. Go ahead.
I like that. Like that's good. Okay, but I have to pretty much look for opportunities for marketing purposes to work on people's social media plans and stuff like that. Okay. Mm-hmm. So now I'm at this point, all right, where I'm like, what the fuck was I talking about? I was talking about, people, I have to work for shit.
Okay.
I have to work for shit. You know, and there's people coming here who may not necessarily have to work for shit because the government's going to go out and provide something. And that's something that I can understand and relate with. So I do agree.
So can I talk to that specific thing, okay? That is totally valid. So let me talk about welfare in the United States, okay? Sometimes people are given bad incentives. They have too many kids. They can come over. They can abuse the welfare system, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? Now, I'm a reasonable person, okay? Or actually, let's talk about immigration issues in Germany, okay? Or Sweden. There are groups of immigrants that do fucked up shit. When I was looking at crime stats over there to research my Lawrence Southern debate, right?
I mean, just look at India.
Sure.
You got
well, I can say like
women's issues.
People, Muslims that come from like some North African countries have some fucked up shit, right? These are problems that I'm going to acknowledge that. I'm not going to tell you that they don't exist because that would be ludicrous, right? But the difference is somebody like me would say like, okay, well, we need to control these problems. We either need to restrict the immigration specifically from these countries, screen harder, or find ways to monitor them after they've immigrated so these problems, right? These are all reasonable solutions to these problems. Same thing with welfare states. We need to restructure the earned income credit. We need to restructure the way the benefits are paid out. We need to reinstate, right? Those are reasonable solutions. The problem is that most of the time when you bring up these problems, people on the right will go, you're absolutely right, these problems exist, no more immigration. You're absolutely right, these problems exist, fuck Muslims, get them out of the country. You're right, these problems exist,
but
fucking ban all these fucking countries from immigrating.
I get it, but here's the thing. Now, this is where I'm going to get a little bit like personal here. Mm-hmm. If you look at my audience, I would say, is not comprised of those people because they are aware. Because I'm not parroting these things in that way, which is why I get offended when people are like, "You're just parroting right-wing views." I'm like, "Listen, I'm telling you right now, like majority, like there's a bunch of people in my audience that don't agree with me, and they're there, and they say it, and they're not afraid." That's the best part. That's the fucking best part. I love that about my audience. They're not afraid to say they disagree with me. Oh, it's the best. It's so relieving because I feel like other people are afraid to say it to their the person that they follow, this person that they look up to. Mm-hmm. They're not afraid to tell me, I don't agree with you. And then I can have a discussion with them and I can understand why they don't disagree with me. And it's why they don't agree with me. And it's the best thing ever. I learned something from them. I learned something from the perspective. So that's what I'm trying to do. And of course I get conflated with these people because I connected with them on a personal level at VidCon. And honestly, I recommend anyone to go to VidCon. If you are a person that wants to participate in society and participate in society in a way that's inclusive, fucking go to VidCon. And I'm not being paid by like whatever his name is, Tom Green or something like that. I don't even know his name actually, honestly. Hank Green.
Okay.
I'm not being paid by them to fucking promote VidCon. I'm just saying, like, if you care about society, if you care about these social issues, if you care about like, you know, being inclusive, come to fucking VidCon. Come to VidCon and start talking to people and start trying to figure out like the ways that we could like kind of work together. And that's when I noticed. And I noticed that in people when I was at VidCon, I was like, these people don't want to fuck up the world. They want people to finally chill out. They want people to be like, all right, this is your thing. This is my thing. Like, you're going to do your thing. I'm going to do my thing. And it's obviously, there's obviously going to be a cutoff at the point where like your thing involves killing me. That's the cut. I'm telling, dude.
But if you walk everything up to like right at that point, they don't need you anymore. You've already served your purpose.
What do you mean?
Like, if you get a whole bunch of people that are on board with every single racist idea right before the actual racism, this is what a stepping stone is, right? Let's say...
what you mean. Like, if you have these people who are like, all right, we're like this, we're like that, I get it, okay?
So, like, if I can go to the scientific community, if I can convince them that IQ is intrinsic...
Steven, please, hold on, Steven. So, essentially, all right, what I'm trying to say is that these people, okay, the majority of people are good. They don't give a fuck about race. Majority of people don't give a shit about race. They want food, they want water, they want money, they want people to chill, they want people to enjoy life. That's what they want. And if you can provide those things to them, do you think they're going to give a fuck about race?
Well, but that's the thing. They won't care about race one way or another. If it involves being racist, that's just fine. Like, if you look at the marketing, I don't know if you've ever watched any of like the ISIS propaganda videos, but like the white nationalist propaganda videos, you have?
Yeah, totally.
They're the same. And they're not fucked up. They're really empowering videos. Are you a Muslim? Do you feel like society shits on you? Do you have no purpose in life? Come over here. Like, we'll give you a purpose. We'll give you something great to fight for, an ancestry to be proud of, a religion to be proud of, people that want to support, right? The white nationalist messaging is the exact same. Like, if you watch...
I agree. Dude, like, I agree that extreme views are very similar. Like, they're super similar. It doesn't matter if you're a communist or whatever. I'm telling you, like, it's all... I get it. Do you think
that, like, so Sargon has repeatedly said that he's not a Trump supporter, right?
I thought he was pro-Trump when doing the elections, for sure. He was pro-Trump.
Even you said it. No, he said repeatedly that he's not a Trump. He said that when he debated me. He said he's not a Trump supporter. But even you think he's a Trump supporter. Like,
but here's the thing. The reason why, and I guess this is the same thing that happens to me, because my friends sometimes think I'm a Trump supporter because I'm not overly critical of Trump. I'm not going to be like he's a rapist.
You don't have to call him a rapist. You can point to the actual things that he says that are super fucked up. But like, I can put all of Sargon's fan base.
I'm not a Trump supporter.
Sure,
I'm not.
But all of Sargon's fan base can be Trump supporters, because Sargon never says anything to differentiate his views from Trump. Do you see the problem there? That even though he says he's not pro-Trump, all of his fan base are probably Trump supporters, or a large amount of them.
I would say that's not true. I would say there's definitely people that are. I'm not a Trump supporter.
I'm glad that you said that. So if I look up Sargon Trump videos, okay, all I find is video after video after video shitting on people that don't like Trump, right? So let's take somebody that's similar to Sargon in a lot of their beliefs, okay? Do you know who Thunderfoot is?
Yeah, I do.
So Thunderfoot is somebody that says that he doesn't like Trump. He says he's a liberal, okay? But he actually makes videos about how he doesn't like Trump, okay? When you go to Thunderfoot's videos and you click any video where he's bashing on Trump, holy shit. Here, look, I'll link you this thing. Just go through and look at the likes, dislikes. Like, you get to see, like, tons of thumbs downs. 5,000 out of 20,000 thumbs down. 8,000 out of 27,000 thumbs down. Like, what a Donald Trump presidency really means. 6,000 downvotes, 10,000 upvotes, right? This is a guy.
But that just means, I mean, for me, I look at that, I'm like, all right, well, more people are down with what he's saying as opposed to less people being down with what he's saying.
What? When his fan base, whenever he's talking about anti-SJW stuff, about how triggered libcucks are or whatever.
Because that's the thing. It's so easy to hate on these SJW fucking morons who are this one guy, dude, this one fucking Kevin Logan guy made a whole video. He looks like a mental patient, bro. And I'm like, why the fuck is he? Obviously, if I were to shit on him, I would get crazy likes and crazy no dislikes.
But what I'm saying is that Thunderfoot, whether he liked it or not, built an audience of people that were pro-Trump. And he fed into all of those ideas perfectly. And then when he tried to speak out against Trump, he got massively bucked for it. Some of those videos have huge dislike ratios. If you look at Sargon, I bet his community is full of fucking Trump supporters, but he never speaks out against Trump, so he doesn't get downvoted for it.
But you see a fucking massive issue here, and I see 15K fucking likes versus 5K dislikes, which is like...
That's just on one video. Go through all of them, compared with the normal, like, 35K likes versus, like, 500 dislikes.
But, I mean, I can get that because obviously people are down to like Trump because he stands for anti-political correctness. There's so many people that voted for Trump because they were just like, fuck everybody. They're like, fuck this shit.
Okay, but Trump is anti-American. What's more important? Political correctness?
I would actually say that Trump is fucking like the most American dude ever.
Then why did Trump talk about getting rid of revoking your citizenship if you burned an American flag?
Because he's just that fucking crazy loony American, bro.
But that's like the antithesis to our country and the right to protest the government.
I know, but there's so many people that are upset You don't think that this guy? Are you saying that the president is exempt from being upset about the way things are?
I'm saying that the president should embody American ideals.
I know, but the president is a person, dude. He's a person, and he's embodying what he feels. That's the crazy thing. He's really just himself. That's the nuts thing about him.
But like, you can't just use that to.
I was like, he feels.
you can't just use that to excuse every inane belief that he has. Like, he's just being himself.
I'm not using that as an excuse. I'm just saying.
But you just use that as an excuse for why he believes really un-American things.
I'm not making an excuse. I'm making an observation, bro. I'm making an observation. I'm like, this is what he's doing. It's so obvious. It's so obvious that he's tripping out because everything is fucking completely insane. Why are people freaking out about saying Merry Christmas? I'm an Indian. I'm Sikh. I don't even celebrate Christmas, and I love saying Merry Christmas. Why the fuck should I be fucking reprimanded for saying Merry Christmas? It's something that I used to say when I was a kid.
Who cares? But the thing is, like, and this is like classic conservatard thinking, where they're like, "Why is it a big deal?" And I am an atheist. If somebody says,
it's not conservative.
No.
Are you going to offend when someone says Merry Christmas to you?
No. I personally, I don't give a fuck, okay? Because I really don't give a fuck. But a lot of conservatives say they don't give a fuck. But when Starbucks releases a fucking cup that says Happy Holidays, conservatives lose their fucking mind. They go crazy. They're the most triggered snowflakes in the whole history.
But isn't this nuts? Because it's really just a tit-for-tat economy that we're in. We're in a tit-for-tat economy.
No. But it's not supposed to be
tit-for-tat.
It's not supposed to be tit-for-tat. Conservative. This is the hypocrisy. Conservatives will sit there and say, don't be offended if somebody says Merry Christmas to you. Just get over it. Grow the fuck up. But then if Starbucks has a Happy Holidays cup, they literally lose their fucking mind.
Yeah, but I know what you're getting at. You're like really annoyed with how the right just fucking likes to shit on the left, and the right doesn't shit on the right. I get what you're trying to say here,
but not the right, the centers that you're calling the right, because that's what they really are.
Because I'm probably the true centrist. Because I don't fucking stand for that shit. I don't like it when they freak out about fucking Happy Holidays. Like, who gives a fuck? Say Merry Christmas or say Happy Holidays. Have a sweet life. It's the fucking Christmas season. You're gonna get fucking presents, you asshole. Who gives a shit if they're saying Happy Holidays while handing you a fucking $20 gift card to some fucking restaurant that you really like, as opposed to Merry Christmas? To me, it's like, I'm like, why are you freaking out? So it's like, it's just completely nuts to me. We're in a nuts economy, and we're in a nuts economy that rewards our fucking idiocy, our insanity with the money. They're like, oh, sick, this has riled up the masses. I can run ads on this because I know people are going to be watching. Okay. So
and I agree with everything you say. Wouldn't it be awesome if there was a community of critical thinkers that could sit and observe and critique this type? What would you call a community of people? What would you call a community? A group of people that are blank about these issues. What would you call? What word would you use? Scoriatic.
I would use straight up
the word
the centrist.
No, this should be the skeptic community. This is what they should be doing.
Okay, so I get it. So you're pretty much saying that the skeptic community should be held to a higher start. I get it.
Well, you call yourself that would be like calling yourself the intellectual community, and
I don't call myself anything. That's Stephen. I call myself Bunty King. All right, it's a funny fucking name. You know, it means pussy king, and I love eating pussy. That's what it means, all right? I'm a fucking normie dude that's grown up in fucking Montreal, that loves chilling with people. Doesn't matter what color they are, so I'm bringing my attitude online, and I'm like fucking chilling. And everyone here is tripping the fuck out when they don't need to be tripping out. They just don't need to be tripping out. You just need to talk to each other. Just like we're talking to each other. Like, I would honestly, I'm chill with you. 100% chill with you now, Des. I'm like beyond chill with you. I'm like, hey, man, let's play some fucking League. I'm shit at it. You're going to fucking bark at me. I don't care. That's the level I'm at right now with you. So it's just like, yes, I get it. I totally get it. Centrists and skeptics need to be held to a higher standard. We need to start fucking critiquing the right a lot more and not be afraid of fucking saying things like, you know, like Trump is being an idiot today. And I do that. Fucking Trump is talking about... He poorly worded a tweet about fucking saying revoking news agencies' licenses, which, by the way, I'm down with reprimanding them, because if they're going to have a fucking license to fucking give the news...
Listen, they don't... Listen, they don't have a license. That was fake news, my dude.
What?
CNN and MSNBC and NBC don't need... They're cable news companies. The licenses are handed out by, like, the FCC for radio shit. Yeah, so that was actually...
Exactly.
That was actually fake news.
That's totally right. Oh my god, what the fuck? That hit me so hard. I'm fucking retarded. It's okay. It's fine. I just agreed with it anyway. So it's like, I'm like, yo, shut up, dude. I was pretty much saying shut up anyway. So, but shit. Yeah, no, that's crazy. I had no idea. I was like, it made. Are you fucking sure? I mean, yes. they do it over TV.
It's it's cable TV. They don't need a license.
But can't you get CNN on like fucking normal TV?
No, they need a license to broadcast, or they don't need a license to broadcast because they're cable. They're like media conglomerates. They don't like for the FCC. You issue licenses to like radio stations. You could argue that the stations that host some of the channels have licensing things they need to do, but like CNN doesn't have like a license for media or whatever. Or MSNBC doesn't have a license for media.
I was had, motherfucker. I was had. It's okay. That's all weird. I'm not the most perfect person in the world. So Pearson. Yeah, shut the fuck up, guys. What's wrong with you, huh? My friends are barking at me. They're making fun of the fact that I'm slurring and doing stupid shit. I'm getting a little drunk here. I'm just chilling. I'm having a good time. So
sure thing, buddy. All right. Well, I love you, dude. Okay.
That's it. We're done.
Well, I mean, can I shoot you? Can I shoot you a video to watch when you're like when you have like free time? I think this person is kind of creepy and not like what you would normally watch. But
is this someone completely unrelated?
No, it's very related. Do you know who ContraPoints is?
I do know ContraPoints. Why?
Okay. If you ever have time, like this video is really interesting. It goes over like a lot of the things. She says things a lot more succinctly than I can on a live conversation. If you ever get bored, just like watch this. It's like a 20-minute video. It's like super, super, super informative. Even if you don't agree with it at all, like
I like ContraPoints. I think that it's quite pleasant.
It'll just give you like some things to think about.
All right, man. Cool.
Okay. All right. I love you, buddy.
Talking to you.
I won't call you a fucking inbred autistic neckbeard or whatever anymore. Okay.
Well, it's cool. I won't call you shrimp anymore. I do apologize. Let's hit each other up sometime. Let's play some fucking Siege. Do you like playing shooters?
I play PUBG, so maybe that's sometime if you play that game.
I play that game. I definitely do. Do some doubles, bro.
Okay, dude. Sure thing. I love you. Okay, be careful, buddy.
Take it easy.